So yeah, I guess we'll start if we're all ready now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so last time we did quite a lot last time. Cassie healed some stress by setting up a date for Ilya. And then you went onto the space elevator. You distracted some guards, broke into an office, and hacked a terminal or something to get a bead on the other rationalist agents in the freight bridge. You found two of them arguing in a vent about what to do about Jin because he'd been captured by the Hex people. Cassie got a map from Legacy after promising something to them. I can't remember what it was you promised them.
You promised them a personal assistant, I think.
Yeah, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
I'll download one when I get home.
Legacy, meet Alexa. Carl broke into the ship through some unmanned pipes or something, and then meanwhile Cassie did a space jump onto the ship. And Ilya went to go and talk with the two rationalists that were in the vent, Jin and Rochelle. But I can't remember what plan you came up with them was.
Mostly, I was stopping them from going any further, right? And I was there to intercept them and prevent them from popping out a vent and being like, "Ah, we're here," because their plan was almost certainly going to be worse than our plan. Or rather, doesn't matter, but we don't want two people trying to do their shit at the same time. So we're now basically in the freight bridge, but without as kind of an extra resource, with the potential to do something, but without any specific plan. Right? I think basically, probably we're trying to work out some way of getting these guys off the ship again.
Yeah.
Because we can't have 3 people on the ship that we need to get off.
So I'm
Or
imagining,
possibly we're trying to work out a way to get from the city down onto the elevator again. I don't know which of those we're prioritizing yet.
So after they got onto the ship, they found G in the brig being interrogated by a scary looking hex mage and some guards. They were able to cause a distraction, and we were kind of wrapping things up quickly at that point. But I think we basically said you've escaped, you've managed to grab G and escape off the bridge, but you're still on the, or off the ship, but you're still on the freight bridge. So I think we can start the session with maybe with a bang, the doors. There's a set of lower doors or something that leads onto the bottom deck of the freight bridge, and they burst open, or not explode open, but open suddenly, and then Cassie, Carl, and G come rushing out, and some kind of alarm starts sounding, and then we'll say Ilya and Jin and Rochelle are up on the railings, up and to the left, probably 2 stories up or something. But you see them pop out below you. So that's probably a good place to start. Although before we do, has anyone's principles changed?
Oh yeah, let me.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I changed mine. I did do this last session. I will help recover the other team and deliver the operation, rescue G. And then second, I will figure out what the hexahedron's current standing is in regards to the colony.
Yeah, okay.
So those are both pretty reasonable.
Cool. Okay, yeah, so I guess your plan today is to get off the space elevator safely,
Yeah.
without getting caught again, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we said the status of the like desync bomb was on the engine.
I think we pretty much just left it there. Like they said they didn't think the the rationalists said that G had just been picked up, that they hadn't necessarily found what he'd done yet, and in that we established that they hadn't read his mind, like they know that he was in that room, they don't know why, or they don't know the full details of what was going on, right? So like I guess probably a thing that will happen is that they will probably investigate that room in a lot more detail and maybe find the thing before anything happens. But I don't know that we've established anything about how that's going to resolve.
Yeah.
I think that one might just still be up in the air
Yeah.
and not yet resolved.
Okay. Okay then. Yeah. So yeah, so I think we'll say like some kind of alarm starts sounding, and I think it like the alarm is already sounding on the colony ship, and then these doors open, it gets louder. Carl, Cassie, and G rush out, and then the alarm kind of spreads into the brig.
If it's like a possibility, I can like
Bridge.
get the bomb.
Sorry, the bridge. Yeah.
After.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the question is, like, are you splitting up? Is someone going to stay on the ship and try and look for this bomb? If so, it should almost certainly not be Cassie. It should be Carl, because I don't think Cassie knows how bombs work or engineering at all, and Carl, at least in principle, might.
I don't need to
Like,
deprogram it. I'm just gonna like grab it and throw it in space. I'm not.
Yeah, no, but like I feel like this is a thing where like I don't know, and I don't think the set like we know in the setting like until we roll the dice whether grabbing it and throwing it into space is even safe, right? Like if it, I think there probably is still a role there where like it is dangerous to, because I don't know that we've like explored the setting enough to know what this thing looks like or exactly how it
Yeah,
works.
I don't think we've established enough in that range yet.
Yeah.
It seems dangerous to leave it on the ship.
It seems dangerous to leave it on the ship, but I think like if we want to go with like throwing it off, the logical person, like if someone is staying behind to throw it off into space, it would make more sense to be Carl. Unless you think that like Cassie would just do that because that's the thing like she's prioritizing, right?
Well, I think Carl's principles are focused on rescuing G, but I guess I could interpret like deliver the operation as like making sure that the bomb is set correctly or whatever. I guess because it's like he still wants it to go because he wants it to go off, right?
Yeah.
It's like we said it's like what, like an EMP or something.
I feel like if we're already out of the ship, this doesn't matter.
Right? Well, I mean, I positioned that under the assumption that you were trying to all get off, but if you want to split up, then I think we can skip
the alarms. The alarms and most of the shouting is going to be following the person that they just knew escaped from jail. So you might have a little like if you want to split up, there might be a window of opportunity, right? They're going to be looking for people trying to escape the ship, not people who are trying to stay on the ship primarily.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess.
But
I guess if we think that
like matters right now. Like the position that we're in right now, like we're just trying to get out of here, right? Like, do we care if this thing blows up? Like, honestly.
up to you.
Yeah, it's like an EMP
I
thing, right?
fucking don't.
But I thought
Like,
they didn't set it correctly. I thought they said they didn't get a chance to fully set it.
dude, if the thing blows up and there's some evil fucking hex dude in there, I don't care if that dude dies. It's not gonna lie. Like, mind you, these guys are idiots, but like, they're like our idiots, you know. So take care of our idiots.
Well,
And
I guess I have a couple
find a way
questions.
to take care of their idiots, you know. That's up to them. They have fucking
Have
mind
we-
powers too, so they can't psychic throw the bomb into fucking space. Like, let them take care of that shit, man. Like,
Sadly, the bomb isn't got a brain, so they can't really like ask it where it is.
Have
Like-
we established like what kind of bomb it is and whether it's active? Because I don't know if it's ticking down.
I think
remember-
we established what it was, which is like some
Mm.
kind of equivalent to an EMP, but like
Okay, it was an
specifically
EMP,
for
okay.
hex stuff.
Yeah.
So like a psychic bomb, almost.
It's like it's gonna mess up the way that the ship interacts with the portal in some way, and like
Would that kill the hex guy on board?
no, I think the discussion was it will get found during like they're gonna do some kind of test. This thing's gonna go off. They're gonna do some kind of test, and the test will fail because this will have fried something important, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't like a big like blows the whole ship up.
No,
It's like a
no. We
This is like-
we
Rise
established
one.
this is like the intent is not to damage the ship. It's just to cause
Yeah.
setbacks that will like throw Hex into doubt.
What happens if you set this bomb
Okay.
after they've done the test is that the ship blows up and every aboard dies, right? But like because this other
Oh, 'cause
team
they
has
shoot through the portal
because
and
this
it
other
doesn't
team
come
has
out later.
specifically set this so that it will get found. And like they've set the point of this is to make a ruckus, not to blow the ship up, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
So yeah.
But if it went off later, it would
If it-
like blow.
If they if they don't do a
Yes.
test or if it gets completely screwed up and doesn't trigger until much later, then it might just destroy the ship. Yeah.
Then it would
Like,
be
is
a
that-
Is it-
humanitarian crisis.
And
Yes.
is it actually active right now? That's like the main.
I
thing,
think
is
we'd
like
have to
if you're
ask
ticking
G.
down.
I think the only
that's
person
a
who
question
knows
for G, I guess.
is G.
Yeah.
we don't really have time to.
I
talk
feel
to
I
them.
probably would
We're
have
gonna have to
asked.
get out of here.
Yeah, I feel like I would have that information at this point because like I rescued him.
I don't know if G's even going to answer that question.
Well, okay, so let's
He doesn't
let's
answer. He's
jump to a
fucking-
scene where like you're running through the ship still.
Yeah.
G is like you've
So I'm just trying to figure out what information.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so my
Because-
assumption, like I said, my assumption was you're all just trying to get off. Since there's a change of plans, let's figure it out. So you're running with G through the like ship, trying to get back to the bridge, and while there are people like chasing you, you're like questioning G like what, like, oh, we're with the rationalists, we're here to help you, hey, about that bomb, what's going on, or like what do you
Well,
what do
I
you
don't
want
think Carl would be like that awkward, but he'd just be like, "We've been sent here to help take care of this. What's the status of the mission? Like,
Mm.
is the bomb active or not?"
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's just gonna answer like, because if we're like, we just broke him out of jail, and we're from his own faction.
I don't know that he knows that. And I don't know that, like, it's completely... People do some wacky shit in this
I
setting.
mean, he
Right.
knows. I've kind of got the advantage of that being the assigner. Like, he knows I'm a rationalist at least, right? And if Carl's with me, he should know that Carl is one of them.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, because he's just been interrogated already,
Hmm.
and he's
Does he
he's
look beat
so
up at all?
far been pretty tight-lipped.
Been like aggressed in any way, shape, or form. Just like he looks like normal.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been like beaten up or anything. It's like just the initial stages of questioning, and he's had to be like just sitting there in silence, trying to not say or do anything.
I'll
Uh,
I don't care.
You'll what?
I mean, do we Do we
I'll
think
beat
that there's
him
a
up. I'll
role
slap
here?
him in the face.
If we don't say yes immediately to like this guy trusts me, then obviously I have to convince him, or I have to roll of some sort, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide, does he trust you enough?
Because the implication here is that like he thinks this is like some really elaborate like interrogation ploy, where like we're breaking him out to like get him to admit to a crime.
Possibly,
That's like the only
yeah.
thing I can think of why he wouldn't. That's like the only scenario I can consider. I mean, maybe you guys are more creative than me.
Yeah. Or like third faction coming out of nowhere, being like, we can see something's happened. Let's take advantage of it and work out what's going on and get the guy ourselves, right? So
Yeah.
it could either be Hex or a third faction. He doesn't know, right? Like that's what I was implying by saying I don't think that he.
Yeah,
I
I
there's
think there
questions.
is a role here. Maybe it's just links.
Mm.
So
Okay.
you share a
It's like
circumstance.
it just circles, just to see
Yeah,
if he.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
next
So
time.
like you're. I'll counter difficulty for the urgency. But other than that, you're kind of on the same plate. So, yeah, we'll call it a difficulty 2 links check. So that's 3 dice base plus any asset you feel would be relevant, and then difficulty 2 using your links rank.
And can we use specialties to get bonuses here or no?
If you you can kiss if you fail.
If that's just for kissing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I don't know. I feel like my PhD illegal stuff or other things don't really help. Like, I think Cassie's probably my main asset. Is like, hey, you know who I am.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, if Cassie wants to lead it, then you get more dice, right? Because you both have the same links rank, so yeah, Cassie might as well lead the roll, and then Carl help if needs be.
Okay. What's the tier for it?
So you're rolling 4 dice because you've got +1 from your rationalist thing.
Okay.
And then it's rank 5, difficulty 2.
Okay. Is the rolling page up?
Oh yeah, I need to make a thread. Create thread. Rolling.
I mean, it's just archive, right? Never mind something again.
Here we go. Session 6.
Don't be mad at me if I don't remember how to roll. It's 46, right?
46 T5.
Difficulty 2. I got a 1.
Okay.
I don't know how I got a 1.
Well, you've got 1 success. Yeah, you've got a 6 there.
So I think I can probably kiss with rationalist faction because I'm trying to prove I'm a part of the rationalist faction.
Sure.
Like maybe I have like I don't know, a patch.
Does spending
yeah. Does what, sorry?
I don't think Lynx has because you only roll checks with Lynx, so it doesn't have experience.
Yeah, there's no links experience.
Plus, it's a check, so you don't get experience for it anyway.
Oh, hello?
Hello?
My computer just stalled.
Oh,
No.
Do lots on a link on a links roll?
No, because it's not it doesn't have a level. It's you're basically just making an advanced check.
Alrighty.
So you can kiss. You got a kiss from Carl. For help. And
so it's 1 reroll.
1 reroll. Looking at your sheet. Probably a you could take a kiss from psychological sciences, I guess, because you're like trying to get into his headspace right now. If you wanted, or you could spend a lot.
Yeah,
both.
I'll do both.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'll mark those on your sheet. So roll 3 more dice, T5. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so G opens up to you while you're running down the corridors. And yeah, basically says we set up the bomb, but we didn't have a chance to like start the activation sequence on it. So the bomb's just sitting there, but it's not gonna do anything right now.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go finish that.
Okay. So
Nice.
you sort of split up then.
Yep. I got a mission to finish.
You cool with that, Cassie?
I'm pretty strong. I could take him if he can't walk or anything, I guess.
He can walk. Yeah, he hasn't been beaten up or anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna split up. So we'll say then Cassie and G start heading towards the bridge. Carl goes back towards the engine room. So let's follow Carl first and see what happens.
Okay. So I guess I'm initiating this scene. So I guess we probably like come into some like maintenance room or something, like the kind of room that has like all the cables going into it, like breaker boxes and stuff like that. And there's probably like a bunch of electrical equipment like running through like a single like orange panel. And there's like this thing that's like very clearly like welded, or not welded, but like plastic weld or whatever, like attached to this, and it's like Raspberry Pi style, like
Yeah, very like
connected, yeah,
janky.
like super low tech. Yeah, just like real real janky. And I think it's just like missing some kind of like sequence or something to finish.
Yeah, like it needs an
like
input code or something. There's a little dial on it, and it's like still flashing, like the cursor is still flashing, like awaiting an input. So you can tell like they were just about to put it in and then flee before like they got caught.
Yeah, and I don't think it's like a password or something. It's just more like activate. Do you want to activate or not? Like some kind of like sequence to go through. And so I think like it's gonna get set no matter what, because we're fictionally positioning this to be like pretty easy. But I think the difference is like if I succeed here, I do it and I'm able to like find a vent in the floor and like escape, like flip it and like get out, right? And I like catch up with Cassie and G like fairly easily. I think if I fail, the vent I take takes me to like a completely different part of the ship, and maybe I encounter the Hex guy.
Sure. Okay. So what? Let's see.
And I would assume this would either be Thief or Cipher, because those both are sketchy shit.
Yeah.
For lack of a better job description.
Yeah. I think it's probably Thief then for like the sneakiness side of it.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's more of like it's kind of interesting because it's more of like the escape is the role as opposed to the actual bomb.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Thief. Let me find factors. think you're trying to sneak past guards and stuff. You're
like in
being
kind of
hunted
then.
to some degree, and I think the like vents and stuff. A lot of the parts of the ship you're trying to get through are not really meant for like human access. So you either have to like.
I was thinking they'd be like maintenance vents, kind of like the old like Star Trek ones.
Yeah, yeah, quite possibly. I think they're locked though, so I think I'm gonna count a factor there. So you're gonna have to like pick them or something as well. So, yeah. So I'm gonna call it difficulty 3.
Okay, and what were the factors again?
So because of locked vents and stuff, and then also because of like active guards, and the base difficulty is 1, so 3 total.
And guards. Do you think, is there anything I get positives for that we can think of? I guess I have the bag of tools.
Yeah, you have a bag of tools. I think we can count that.
So I could potentially like, it's effectively like a lockpick.
Yeah, it's like thieves' tools and stuff.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of use out of this bag of tools, but honestly, if we were playing Agora with the fully up to date rules now, then these would be separated out into individual tools, but it would still function like this basically. So it's fine.
It sounds somewhat tedious, but yeah. I guess it's good.
Well, it's just that the tools are like more specific. So you have like rogue tools or like medical tools or whatever. Yeah,
they basically will always be used for like the thief skill or like thief and investigator.
And any job with the rogue tag can use rogue tools, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, cool.
And then I think, and especially these are for kissing, not for actual upgrades.
Yeah. So you've got 4 dice.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I can do to get another dice, because 4 dice with 3 successes is not impossible.
Your thief is your rank 4, so yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. I'm just trying to.
But you put yourself in this soup. You've got to get out now.
Yeah. I was just trying to like play the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this a stressful roll as well. So if you fail this, you'll take shock stress.
Okay. Did I not do that right? What did I do wrong?
Space. Sorry, it's exclamation point roll, not slash. And you need a space. Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Oh my god. What am I doing?
Not quite. Yeah, you need a space between the roll and the...
I'm gonna copy someone else's. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
I'm officially that guy.
There we go. Okay. Right. So 2 successes so far.
Alright, and I can kiss.
You can kiss 2 dice if you've got something.
I use... And I have what does ego do? What's that do differently?
Ego would allow you to double a 6 if you'd rolled a 6.
Okay. And I can use ego after lots.
Yeah, so you can... Okay. I'd go for your specialties first and then check lots if you want.
Okay, I'm going to use improvisation for 1.
Sure.
So what does this look like? So I think like I'm having trouble with like the lock itself. And I realized that like the bolt cutter, like it's like a torch or something that I'm using, is like almost out of like butane. And I just like rifle through, like I see like a maintenance pack because I'm in the maintenance closet, and I like pull out a fresh butane canister and cycle it in. So that's one of them.
Cool.
And then I'll use a lot, and so it's just like
sure.
I hit the zone or whatever. Try and get it.
Okay, so 2 more. Same rank.
Paste. Change number of dice.
Oof, no successes.
And I have no way to use ego after.
Currently no. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just failed. So I get through the lock, and I think that I'm like looking like, okay, do I go left or right here? And I just feel like I should take a left, and I take the left, and then like there's the psychic, and it's like he's like encouraged me to like come towards him somehow.
Yeah, like you think you're going the right way, and then you like drop down like a little hole and then crawl through into a corridor, and you think the corridor is safe. There's no one in it yet. And then you like turn the corner and walk almost like face first into the lady you saw before. The like long blonde hair, kind of pale blue eyes.
And what was her like her hex wizard or whatever tell? Like what was her weirdness?
Oh yeah, her eyes are like her irises are like swirling with like they look like hex portals almost.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah.
That is pretty weird. All right, sweet. So I think that's where we like cut to someone else.
Yeah, we'll cut there. Okay. So Cassie and G are running off the. I guess now we have that scene where the doors open, the siren starts blaring through, and Ilya, you look down off the bridge, down to the like main bay of the cargo lane, and you see like Cassie and G run through a set of doors. The doors are like have got like one of those yellow spirally light things above it.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of like steam blows up, and then like the sound of the sirens like kind of triggers through into the whole bridge. So like first you hear the echo of the siren from the ship, and then a few seconds later the sirens in the whole bridge turn on.
Shit, dude.
Oh, Carl, take that point of stress as well in finesse. So we'll say it's shock stress. So like yeah, you run into the lady, and she just like grabs your shoulder, and you like almost get electrified. We'll say.
Oh, okay. So it's not a condition. It's
stress. Yeah.
Okay.
So all finesse rolls suffer a -1 die penalty now.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And you can get stress equal. What happens if you get the max stress? Do you die or?
If you're on two stress is the max per ability, and then if you keep getting more stress in that same ability, it just rolls over into other abilities. If you get max stress on every ability, then you die. So you've kind of got 12 hit points in a weird abstract way. Okay. But yeah.
Like 12 psychic hit points. Okay.
Ilya like turns to Jin and Rochelle and is like, "Did you guys have a plan to get off the bridge?"
Rochelle just like throws her thumb back at the vent, and Jin is like wide-eyed.
You guys head that way. I'll try and keep. I toss them my communicator pad that is, I guess, now tracking G as well, and
yeah, G is now popped
I'm
up
like,
on it.
I'm like keep an eye on G. If you can link up with him or give him a hand, do so. I'll try and get people looking the wrong place, and then Ilya is gonna like try and broadcast psychic to like anyone who can hear and just be like, they're in the upper level. There's two of them. They've got a motorized vehicle. I think they're trying to link up with one of the trains and hitch a ride on the roof. They seem to have some kind of equipment rigged up to one of the like sort of quickly bursts out some information that is like a completely like a potentially viable but completely fake plan.
Yeah. To try and cause confusion.
Yeah, and just says that, and then tries to like and then flips into trying to hide their presence so that people don't like read who it was that like said that, because like um because
Yeah,
yeah
I get where you're going.
yeah.
Okay.
And this may be two things, one after the other, right? This may be like a cipher followed by like a vigilance check to see if I can then like hide my presence. It may be cipher or orator to like get people to buy the lie a bit, and then a check to see if I can like avoid personal consequences. Because I think
Yeah.
it's a mix of things that are going on, and I don't think I can justify. Well, I could, to some extent, I could ask to wrap it all up in one roll, but it depends how you want to deal with it, really.
I think we could say I don't think you're like casting a spell here. I think this is just like a side effect of your psychic training. So we could count it as like your exclusive feature use for this session to like do the to like enable the orator roll here. Or actually, I think it would just be like, I don't think it would even count as a use. It would. It's just what's enabling you to make an orator roll. Yeah, so I think it's an orator roll, and then like a hiding roll. Although to some degree, maybe it's. What do we think is more important? That they buy the lie, or that you hide safely?
I know which one I'd go for, but I'll open that up to other people responding.
Well, I would say like you do the fail forward thing and say they buy the lie no matter what, and then if you fail, you're revealed versus because like the story's more interesting if they just buy the lie. I think.
I'd say I think failure is like one person catches them, not like 10 people, right? Like one or two people run into you while they're trying to get to this other place. Just because we want to keep the like failing forwards is fine, but we want to keep the pace and the action high. And I think that's a more immediate kind of fail on this.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think I know what to do. So, yeah. So I think. Oh, actually, you don't have any like Heidi jobs.
No, I've got cipher for lying to people. That's it, right?
Yeah. Okay, maybe it's just a wits check to like get their attention, to properly get their attention up to where you are, because a check then has the like fail forward potential. We'll see how that goes first, let's say, and then decide what job to do.
So wits check to start with, was it?
Yeah, so wits check to start with.
And this is to.
This is to like do your, hey, you're like thinking quickly. You're like, hey, they're up here. You're like looking around. You're like, oh, they're gonna go up onto the rafters and get one of the machines. And
There's
go across the
like
roof and...
there's a train out there with like some weird machine on it that looks like they're gonna rig onto in some kind of like airtight pod. Yeah. Okay, so 3d64, 542, 2 success.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So, where are we? Checks. So that's just a regular pass. Your agenda is fulfilled. So, most of the anyone that's like psychically tuned, that's chasing after these people will be coming up now.
Okay. So the psychic people are now going a different way, but the non-psychic people are like, they haven't got this call.
Well, I think anyone alive has gotten the call, but that we talked about there being like drones and stuff as well.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So what's your plan now? You know that they're all coming up to the level that you're at. Your two friends have just climbed through the vent. You can already hear like footsteps coming up on like metal tiles, and that the like classic sound of like footsteps on those stairs that are like grids, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you can like hear that echoing up towards you now. So are you gonna try and like blag your way past them, or hide, or what's next?
I think yeah, I think yeah, Ilya is basically gonna find like it's gonna like basically pick a direction, pick a corridor, and like head down that way, right? And therefore hopefully only have to like try and blag their way past a couple of people rather than like a whole crowd of people.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say since you got regular success on that pass that you do have a little bit of time to do something like that then. So are you like pretending to be like bridge maintenance staff still, who just like what, I guess, what's your alibi here when someone does turn the corner on you?
Yeah, I think Ilya goes with like I'm not security. I'm not here to be security. Not my like I know what the like I've been drilled on this. We've been drilled on this. It says go to this evacuation point, right? Like I'm like I think Ilya asks where the evacuation point is, right? Straight up, right?
Yeah.
Just because like that's not a thing you do if you're trying to escape.
Yeah.
And it kind of it's so brazen that like maybe they then buy the story that like that Ilya is maintenance crew and that this is true. This is a blatant lie.
Yeah.
I don't even think Ilya has a particularly good disguise on. I think it's just like I don't think they have, because I don't think Ilya has a pass, right? Like Carl had a pass, Ilya just snuck on. So Ilya is wearing clothing that kind of matches, but doesn't have any identification.
Yeah. Okay. So so it's gonna be a cipher roll. It looks like this should be appeal, not resolve. So you're not suffering a difficulty from that.
Cool.
You're not suffering from the burnout. So you've got 3 dice.
Yeah.
Base. That might be it.
That's it.
Okay. So someone turns on you.
Who am I like? What's the group of people? Is it like 2 or 3 people, or is it just like one person? Or like I think it probably has to be like 2 or 3.
I think it's two people like turn the corner. They're both in like Hex uniforms. I think there's like a division of Hex that's a little bit more militaristic than the rest of Hex. They're like the kind of scary Hex police. there aren't many of them, but like,
Mm.
yeah. So 2 of them turn the corner on you. As soon as you start asking, like, "Oh, where's the emergency exit?" or whatever, the other one like nods and then keeps moving down the corridor,
Yeah.
like to leave his partner to it,
Mm.
and to continue looking for like suspicious people.
Okay.
So yeah, it's one person. You're blatantly lying. But I think that's it. So it's just difficulty 2.
Okay. Ooh. All these lies. Like I think they like I think Ilya like finishes off by saying like something like God, I had that broadcast. Jesus, I hope it's nothing too bad. Like the sorry, like they go like God, I had that broadcast. This sounds really serious.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be anywhere around here, man. Better you than me.
Yeah, and I think at that point, like, there's a call or something, and the person that just came up, the guard. Like,
Oh God, no! At that point, like, there's a call from the person who runs into Carl, being like, "I found one of them."
Oh yeah, there's like a blip on their walkie-talkie or something.
Um,
Or no, they wouldn't even have. They just speak to each other psychically. So at one point, they're just like put.
their eyes light up, right? To
Yeah.
let us, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But you don't hear that, so it's completely that
No.
you. But you know that something's happened
Mm,
because I guess you're familiar with Hex and stuff.
mhm.
So you can tell that something's happened, and then they like turn around and go back the way they just came, and then the other one follows shortly after, leaving the corridor free for you.
Cool. Ilya begins sprinting along to the corridor to a point where they hope to meet up with the others.
Okay, Cassie, Scribe, are you back?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so you're running through the like bottom layer of the freight bridge. You realize at some point like nobody from Hex is chasing you anymore. They all seem to have gone upstairs. But there are like drones and security bots and stuff that are still on high alert. And the sirens are still like blazing around you. So what's your plan to get through the freight bridge?
What's this guy's name?
G.
G. I look at G. Hey, are you and I like point to my like galaxy like speckled eyes. Like are we like simpatico?
Oh, you're
We gotta
asking if he's a star child.
Yeah.
That seems awfully convenient. I'm gonna have to
I'm
say
getting
no
the fuck outta
on
here.
that one.
All right. And yeah, he probably doesn't have like another way out. Is it just like a straight shot out of here from this point?
I guess I'm imagining the bottom layer of this freight bridge is like kind of a train yard. So there's lots of like carriages and stuff carrying all sorts of materials and prefabricated parts from one side of the space elevator to the ship building area. So there's like a lot of cover, potentially, but it's not a straight path through.
Okay.
Well, it is for the railway, but like you're not a train.
Oh, for sure. That's fine. Okay. What kind of role would I need to land on the train?
Possibly acrobat. That's usually like climbing stuff.
Do I still have acrobat? Could I remove it from my sheet? Let's check. When I have sheets on my phone, I do. Never mind. I'm tripping.
Looks like you don't still have Acrobat.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
You have driver. Driver would include driving a train.
how am I gonna? Is there a train here right now?
You could hijack one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I'll fucking steal the train. I'm a psychopath. I write it down in my. I write it down in my. Oh, not my itinerary. I put it in my vacation log. Okay.
Okay, so I think we'll make a
feel about
check
that?
first to like get on the train, and then we'll do a driver test. So, probably swiftness check to like quickly find a train before you get spotted by drones.
What do I need to pass?
So, because it's a check, you need 2 for a regular pass. 1 would be fail with a twist.
Okay. Oh, I can't put anything into a check.
Yeah, it's just 3 dice.
I got
Nice.
2.
Okay, yeah. So you're able to find like one of these carriages with like an unattended cabin, and like there are some workers that were unloading it, and they've now started evacuating because of the sirens. So you're able to just like hop in quickly before anyone spots you, and now you're in front of like the control panel of this train.
I don't start driving it yet. I send a message to Ilya and Carl.
Sure.
That hey, you know what? It's like a voicemail. It was like, hey, I possibly may have illegally commandeered a train. I don't know how okay you guys are with like Grand Theft Auto or like you're doing a bunch of community service after this. So hopefully we don't get caught. But if you don't want to get caught, I'd recommend moving your asses and getting down here. The trains are pretty big. I'd say if you drop down from any like bottom level, if you've got some strong shoes, you'll probably be fine. And that's the message.
Okay then. Okay, so I don't think there's actually any specific factors for driver from the job itself. So I'm gonna look at generic factors. So you're just trying to get to the other side of the bridge. Is that your objective on this train?
Yeah, I want to drop G off, and then hopefully, since I wasn't spotted by anybody, I can just operate this train per normal without like getting fucked with, right? Because one time, like, I passed that roll already,
Yeah.
so I can
So
come
you-
back.
Okay, so you want to drop G off and then go back to the.
Yeah, I gotta get
ship?
G the fuck out of here because they know his face and shit.
Right. Okay, so that's 2 objectives. You want to drive the train all the way through once, drop G off, and then drive it all the way back for Carl?
And Ilya, yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so that's 2 objectives. And then I'm going to count a difficulty factor for, like, the drones and the high tension situation.
So I've got to
So-
pass all of mine.
So you-
I've only got
3
3 in drive.
difficulty, 3 dice. Yeah.
Oh, I've got my kisses and stuff. Or you know what? Maybe I'll just pass it straight up.
And I'm gonna say failure here is like you get you get shot at by one of these drones and it causes shock stress.
Oh god. I just take a health instead.
You don't die. It's like they like shoot you with like like rubber bullets or like a taser or something.
Yeah, the Batman styled rubber bullets.
Yeah.
Shot out of a fucking cannon. 6 T5. That's 35 T5. I need 2. I need 3.
You need
actually.
3, yeah.
I got a 1.
You got a 1.
I gotta reroll both of those.
I don't think any of your specialties are gonna help, so it'll have to just be lots. Unless you want to stunt.
Does the Baylor City not help?
You're not really in Baylor City right now.
I'm not? Shit.
Well, I mean, you are, but like, I don't know how that would help you.
Or maybe I saw a video on some trains one time. I don't know. Is this asshole?
I think it's a stretch. But you could stunt or just spend your lots. Up to you.
The thing is, once I declare that I'm done kissing, I can't do anything else after that, right?
Yeah, it's you get 1 round of kissing, and if it's still a failure, then we have to accept the results.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just spend the 2 lots.
Although you, oh no, you don't have ego. Yeah.
I don't really want the experience. Yeah, I haven't earned an ego in 3 sessions.
Damn.
I don't really want the experience in driver, but I'll take it, I guess.
That's a point. It's kind of academic maybe because this is the last session, but yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Also, I don't have a 6, so the ego wouldn't like.
Yeah,
matter.
that's true. Okay, so
Fidelity.
2 lots. Yeah, you spent your fidelity last session.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
So
let's
the
read it.
failure here is like, oof.
Absolutely no successes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think because you got 1 success at least, we'll say like you're able to get to the other side of the bridge, and you're about to drop off G, and then that's when you like come under fire, and you have to like just be taking cover. So you take the shock stress, but you're basically trapped at your current location now because of this. Make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so like is Carl there? Is Kingfisher there, or did he go FK?
No, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, so you and Ilya both get this message that like Cassie has like hijacked a train. You're not sure what to, or I guess you're in the middle of shit already, Carl, but I guess Ilya looks out over the balcony at some point, running down across the same way, and like sees this train barrel past, get to the other side of the bridge, but then starts getting like shot at by drones. So that's everyone has acted now, right? Everyone's done a task.
How do we like, I guess, is my information intercepted because I'm captured, or am I still in the process of like not quite captured? Like we still, or do you think I'm like actually just captured? Because if I'm captured, they now know where they are.
Well, not necessarily. Like it would not be immediately, even if they got you, right? I think we go back to you. Like I don't. From what I heard described, like we'd put you in the same room as the scary psychic lady, but
Yeah.
nothing beyond that.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of where we cut. I'm just trying to decide. So one thing I realized I had basically been forgetting to do for the last at least 3 sessions is like, so everyone gets around, you know, we're sort of progressing in turns, everyone gets around, everyone gets a chance to act. What I'd been forgetting is the FC also gets a chance to act. So I get a turn.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So what does the Hex chick do? Because she's like
Yeah.
the prime PC.
Yeah. So the difficulty with this is because we also have the rule that we're using at the moment, which I'll talk about at the end, whether I like this rule or not, but NPCs can't roll. Yeah, I think we'll go to that scene. So
Okay. So it's like a scene that forces me to roll on her behalf.
As
like
a
she's
reaction. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, that's cool. That's super cool.
So yeah, I think you run into this woman. She grabs your arm and like some kind of pulse runs through your body and shocks you. And you're like, you collapse in a heap in the corridor almost for a minute, and she like stands above you, and says, "You're not the same rat we caught before, but you are the one that rescued them. What's your involvement in all this?"
I think I just like immediately resort to violence.
Nice.
I just punch your shit out, dude. They're fucking psychic.
Yeah.
They're mad weak. Just punch them in the face.
I'm trying to think how I can use thief as an attack thing. Well, I guess my thief is stressed, so I'd be on rank 5. So what can
I guess
stress
like,
is minus dice, not minus rank.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That sucks also.
Yes.
I've investigated that. That also is ass.
I'll give you for free her name. Like, you look up at her and you see like she's got a little name badge or something. Like, so her name is Sergeant Constance Elohim.
I'm trying to think of any kind of thing I can do. Okay, so I've got a 4 in engineering. Does she have any assumption that I should be there, or like that I'm out of place?
Well, she saw you.
How is it?
Okay, so she recognizes you from when you just like grabbed G.
Okay. Even though I had the mask on, then.
I think I described her as like staring at you very vividly.
Okay.
So like she recognizes you psychically, if nothing else, we'll say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a psychic smell or something.
Yeah. Right now, her position is like she's in the dominant position right now. You are very much at her mercy. She wants information right now about like what the fuck is going on, because everything is crazy right now. So I think this might have to be, I think she's gonna break protocol and try to like seep the information out of you. So this is probably some kind of resistance from you.
Okay. Just
that
like
sound
psychic.
good?
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds sweet.
Yeah. There isn't really a job for that, so it's probably a check. It's probably in a resolve
Like
check.
resolve. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's definitely resolved. We both said it.
Yeah.
Playtest. All right. So let's see. So I get 3 dice.
Yeah. So it's 3 dice, and then 2 is you manage to resist her. 1 would be like some of the information leaks out, and 0 would be you leak everything.
Okay. Well, and you said its toughness 3.
You're rolling 3 dice. It's effectively difficulty 2.
Okay.
Yeah. All checks are the same now.
But I got a 6.
Ah.
So I could use my ego.
You could use your ego, or you could kiss those 2 other dice first if you wanted.
I guess I should just kiss.
You kiss first, and then if everything else fails, like ego is your last resort usually.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to skip ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll save it because I feel like Carl is not out of the worst of it yet today. I'll just use 2 lots.
Sure. Oh, you could probably use your deception specialty if you wanted. Unless you want to save that.
I'll do that. No, that's a good tip. Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. Okay.
So
roll 2 more dice.
I'm just trying to like visualize this really quick. So I think Carl just like thinks a bunch of like random thoughts while she's like psychically trying to come at him. And he's got like a, mental fortitude training or some shit.
Yeah, you just like start thinking of ponies and like garbage bins and just random objects. Yeah.
You count back from 1,000
cereal.
You just count back from 1,000 in multiples of 7, right? And it's like it's right.
Yeah, I like
just
that.
like random objects, like flipping through it, like going through like a grocery store or something, just to like pollute all the information.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool, and it works. So I get a 4.
Okay, yeah, so that's full success or regular success. So yeah, she like glares at you, and all these images keep flashing up between you. I think all she gets is your name, because I think that's dramatic.
Oh. Yeah.
But she doesn't get anything else. So she just like humphs, and then just says, "Carl."
And I think at this point, like, I think it's safe to say I've probably like stood up.
Yeah, you've managed to stand back up now. She's with 2 other guards though, so they're both like on edge as you stand up.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to like, because I get a roll here as well, right?
Yeah, I think we're done. I think I'll have a small move outside on the freight as well, but if you want to act now, I think you can.
I think I just like.
Carl, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What's your goose been doing while you've been like out for the count?
Oh shit!
I think this is a great time for my like. How obnoxious do I want to be about this? Fuck it. I think my goose like kicks in from like a vent, and I just like kick it as well, and I dive down it. Like fuck it. Just
wait, so the goose is like distracting, and then you're running, or you're gonna attack them? Sorry, I missed that.
No, it's like the scene in Star Wars where they go down the like trash chute.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the goose like kicks out like a trash chute thing, and I'm like, oh well, shit. Okay, well we'll go this way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So your goose like stayed down the other side of the corridor when you were first caught, so they haven't noticed the goose yet.
Can I add some like visual element?
Sure.
I want to see. The goose like opens its mouth and like cuts a laser using a laser in its mouth around the edge.
I like that. Yeah.
Nice.
I like a laser saw. Just
It's
like...
a little arc welded. It comes out its beak and it flips the attachment.
Yeah, this thing's like definitely 7 kinds of illegal. Like I definitely should not have permits. And like the more we learn about this goose, beside its amazing ability to create plot to allow you to escape,
It just
far
like
more
cocks
killer.
its head with terrifying red eyes and just
Yeah.
hops both wings folded into this vent like straight.
I've been trying to. I've done a little bit of world building that I haven't talked about yet. I guess I might as well mention it. So I've been trying to think because I want Hex Gratia to be one of the settings that ships with Agora.
Yeah.
And so I want some like playable species or ancestries to go with that. And one of them that I've thought about is a group of people called Dynamos, who are like cyborg / like silicon beings, people, like heavily
They're just like
augmented
avatars
cyber people.
They're like avatars of the Emperor, like Avatar.
Well, somewhere
androids.
between
Something
like
that, yeah.
Yeah, someone between like a
Like,
separate like sentient being that isn't monitored to like a human with a lot of
Yeah, they're not quite like the Borg or whatever. They've got independence, but yeah. And
That's
so
super cool.
I was like, probably Carl's goose is a type of just animal dynamo. That people normally like, they were experimented with when dynamos were first, like when the technology was first being invented. But then most people don't make animal dynamos anymore, so it's probably like a really rare thing as well.
Yeah. I like that. That's super cool. That's all really sweet. So my objective here was to try and say this would be engineering because I'm like breaking open event. I don't know if I can stretch engineering that far, but
Let's check.
engineering could be
Engineering.
explosions.
Engineering is like applied science.
What are you trying to do?
There's something more applied science.
You're trying to get out, right?
Yeah, you're trying to
Yeah, I'm
escape. So you're on the fight and flight response. You're flighting.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah. Okay.
Violence against object to leave.
Yeah. Okay, I think the goose can count as a big enough distraction. We'll count that as like your use of the goose for this session, to allow you to like scoot away without immediately getting grabbed and shocked again. And so we'll just call it. I think we'll call it an explorer roll. Because you're now kind of lost in the ship, and Cassie isn't with you anymore, so you don't have the map either.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So explorer is resolve. Cool. So
no, explorer should be swiftness. I think you were looking at engine. Yeah, I think you were looking at the wrong one. Yeah. So this is safely navigating dangerous places, which is what this now sounds like.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, using swiftness. I'm going to count a factor for basically being in unmapped territory. And I'll count a factor for being chased, so difficulty 3. But if you succeed here, you'll basically end up in the same place where Cassie was at the start of the session, so you'll end up at the entrance to the bridge.
All right, so fictional positioning, I think I get +1, just because of like I'm like escaping through a vent. It's like hard for them to follow me.
Sure. Sure.
I
know this is going to be a hard roll, so I'll say sure.
Okay.
And then trying to think. I don't really think I have anything like basically just like the goose / fictional position is like the only like dice I can think of.
Yeah.
Can anyone else think of anything?
No, I think that's it.
And it's T4, right?
So your swiftness is 5. Yeah, so you've got 4 dice, T5, difficulty 3. This is going to be tough.
Not one in this one. Oh, okay, just casual. 6
Ooh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Since I got 3 6s, now if I understand correctly, was there a place in the game where additional successes got you more things narratively?
Checks, right?
Yeah, so usually that's for checks, and it's only one success above. For tasks, the way I've written them and the way that I tend to use them is like we set all the stakes first, and then you commit to that. So even though you could potentially double the difficulty if you spent ego here, because we didn't set it up before the roll, I feel like I have to commit to that. If that sounds fair to you.
Well, I just wasn't sure if you.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I
for
have
me, I
thought
don't know,
about it. I have thought about adding a thing that's like if you double the difficulty of a task in successes, then you get some bonus thing, but it's so vague that I haven't written it into the rules.
It also muddies the water on where you spend ego, because it's like, well, do I save it for some like bullshit like I like, you know,
I think
ultra crit. It's like
goes
it's a critical
again.
hit. It's critical hit game design, right? And crits are a thing that are deeply divisive, and you probably shouldn't write into the game as a core way that things should work.
Yeah, so it's something I've considered, but I've erred on the side of setting stakes before you roll and then sticking to them. So
Gotcha.
Currently,
yeah,
no.
I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because like when I have these kinds of situations, because I've played a couple of games where they have, if you get positives over or whatever, you get extra benefit. Like you get to say, oh, I do this and I do this and that, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it
just
shows
say,
up
like,
in
oh,
in the combat system. There are some things that will reward success above the difficulty. But in the base task rules, there's nothing like that currently.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, so save your ego. You might get more sixes later.
yeah. But I succeed, so that's cool enough. I just wasn't sure if there was. Like, I couldn't remember if that mechanic existed in this game.
Okay, so do you want to describe like how you get to the bridge now, or?
Yeah, I think so. I have to get to the bridge, or am I trying to get to the train?
You're getting like. You're basically getting to the same point where Cassie and G came out at the start of the session. Or you could be on like another part of the bridge if you want, but effectively Cassie is on the city side of the bridge, you're on the ship side of the bridge. Ilya is currently halfway between.
Okay.
And once you finish describing, we'll cut back to Ilya, I think.
Yeah, is there like a safer or like, I mean, because like, what do we know? What are the actual spots on the bridge? I'm trying to like mentally map this or like envision this.
Yeah, it's kind of, so imagine like a big, if we do like a vertical cross section of the whole freight bridge, it's like a 3-story building on each side of like railings and tubes and maintenance tunnels and stuff. Then there's like a big cavity in the middle where all the freight trains are, and that's sort of the area I was describing as a shipyard. And then there's also, so those are like fairly normal trains, but then there's also railings across the top where like drones and stuff and smaller, lighter things can get transported.
I think
like a monorail almost.
I'll just go to the train station.
Okay.
I'll be like on my way towards the train station.
Okay. So I think we'll cut there to Ilya next, and we'll work out whether Cassie can get back to you with her train, or whether you have to steal your own train, or what. We'll find out. So Ilya, we left with the guards running back to the ship, and you saw like Cassie. Then you were running down the corridors. You saw Cassie on the train, and then you're seeing Cassie getting shot at. I think. I think I'm gonna ask you to make like a some kind of physical check in a minute. So,
Okay.
like, as you're running, there's like, you turn down a corridor and run. Like there's a one of the, we mentioned like towards the city side of the freight bridge. There's like some AHB guys that are just kind of like on duty. I think you run into one of those, down a corridor, and he's like points a gun at you, and is like, hands up, don't move.
Ilya complies immediately. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No. This is like. Oh, I guess it is a non-lethal gun, but it's like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a non-lethal gun.
Yeah, I think Ilya repeats the line that they used before, like, and I guess I don't know how convincing that is at this point, but like that's what they're doing, right? Like that's like the thought they have is this, yeah.
Okay, I'll say that's like produces enough hesitation that he's like, let me see your badge. Like, or he's doing that stupid annoying cop thing where he's like telling you to do two things at once and it's fucking impossible. So he's like, keep your hands behind your head, but show me your badge. Like slowly walk, or like get on your knees and I'll slowly walk towards you, kind of thing. So you've got a few seconds to react if you want, or he's gonna come up to you.
I think Ilya is gonna be like shit, I'm fucked. Ilya is gonna try and communicate to the two guys in a vent and just be like, need a bit of help here, guys. It's AHB guy. Stun gun from a vent could come in handy about now. Don't know where you are. Hope you're nearby. I'll try and keep things stringing out and like, you know, not get tied to anything or like arrested. And Ilya is just gonna be like they've put the call out there and they're just gonna like try and play for time as much as possible.
Okay.
While this guy faces that, because like there's no like what there's like a guy with a stun gun, like they can't.
Yeah, we
there's
did
no,
establish one of the
like
Russians
Ilya
has
is
a
not
stun gun.
Ilya is not a character that you see getting out of this situation, right?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so maybe this is an appeal check to like blag for time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and I'll say it's a stressful check.
Yeah.
So if you succeed here, you'll delay long enough that this guy gets like stun gunned in the neck from a vent. If you fail, then if you fail completely, I think you're just gonna get arrested, but you'll be taken to the city side of the
the bridge
rather
side.
than the ship side. Yeah.
Well, let's see what. Okay, so that's 642. I'm gonna drop in 2 lots, easy.
Okay. Nice.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, so he's like trying to search you. He's like dropped his attention a little bit.
And I think Ilya is saying like stupid things like, "Oh, I think it's in my front pocket." No, sorry.
It's in my back pocket.
I got a scan on my tablet. Can you just reach out like oh
this
yeah,
would
no,
be a
I don't
lot
have the
easier
tablet.
if I could just
No.
use my hands. And
No,
I
dropped I gave my I gave my tablet to someone else. I've got my watch here. So if you click on the front,
yeah. And he's like losing more and more patience. He's about to just cuff you, and then there's like I think it initially sounds like a cap gun, like a clack, and then a thud, and then like you're not sure exactly what's happened, but he like collapses next to you.
Yeah. I think Ilya is like hands down, like look us up at the vent is like, okay, getting me out, like I'll have a think, but like I think if you guys can try and get Cassie like try and give Cassie some help. Like, do either of you know anything about engineering or like link into technology? Because there's some like weird, like she's apparently stuck on a train with some drones outside. Anything you guys can do to help about that?
I think like so you see Rochelle like with the gun, like with her head popped out of the vent.
Yeah.
And she says, Jin's an okay hacker, but we've
Okay.
got a guy down in the cafe. He's our main guy.
So, Aaron, I have a question. You know what? Finish the scene first. I'll ask you
Sure.
after that.
Okay.
I'll see how this plays out first.
Cool. I think Ilya is like, cool. Listen, I'm gonna get in this vent. And I'll see you in a bit because I think Carl might need some help getting out too.
Okay. Yeah, so they're gonna get in touch with the guy who you've got the like who we talked about last session, who's like
Yeah.
in the cafe downstairs. Okay, yeah, so I think we'll count that as some kind of bonus dice at some point when it becomes necessary. For like him hacking the drones or something at some point when it's convenient. So yeah, Cassie, what are you gonna do?
If I'm willing to take a health damage, can I drive the train through these drones?
Yeah, you could do. I mean, basically that would mean it would basically mean you're making the like noble sacrifice, I'm gonna die kind of thing, but get this done anyway, and then spending health to cheat death.
Yeah.
I think that would happen on a failed roll. So we should make a roll first, but say it's a deadly roll, and if you fail, then you'll die, unless you spend health.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a deadly drive check?
I guess. Yeah. So in the same, I haven't written this in the rules yet, but it's been in my mind. So in the same way that any roll can be stressful, any roll can be deadly, and a deadly roll is like same as a stressful roll, except if you fail, then you die instead of just get stress. But even if you succeed on a deadly roll, you still get stress.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a tough thing, but it seems appropriate.
And when like when is it that, because we've not encountered this before, I vaguely recall there's something about burning health to like avoid being killed.
Yeah, so that's what this would be, right? So you die basically, or you would die if you didn't have any health to spend.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, putting it out there, mechanic wise, it would be super cool if I could get an ego for literally risking my life on purpose, just like asking to be like, hey man, can I die for this?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool thing, to be honest.
I'll also probably
This is like no. This is like this is essentially using a creed like a habit, right? Like or like work like your
life depends on
life
it.
depends. You're kind of blurring the line, or maybe it's like you're using workaholic or like frantic, like to tick that box
Something
in a way
like that.
informed by that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I think you're doing a cool thing, and I want to allow it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure specifically what rule this matches up with, but it's kind of academic since we're in the last session anyway.
I just had a quick question. What's a normal circumstance where like a deadly roll would occur? Because we asked for it in this instance, but like, what would it like just from like how would they normally pop up? I guess.
Yeah, so I think like because I haven't written it yet, it's hard to say exactly, but it's basically the more extreme version of a stressful roll.
I guess if you tried to like 1v1 knock out, like if you try and physically knock out the sergeant, like whatever her name is, then that would probably be a deadly roll because she's just going to throw you against the wall, right?
Yeah, like it's basically it's any roll where failure would reasonably result in death. So if you were trying to like jump off a cliff or something.
Oh, so the space jump should have been
yeah, that probably should have been a deadly roll. Yeah, like but yeah, I haven't written the rules yet, so it's hard to say exactly.
I've got 2 dice for this roll.
Nice. That's what you want to say. Don't need more than that.
Oh man. And it's at tier 5. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
One success.
Yeah, I think take an ego regardless, because I think you're doing a cool thing here. And I'll think about whether there's a way to write this into the rules properly at a later date.
I mean, if I spend a lot and re-roll that, because this is a skill check, right? So a job.
Yeah, this is gonna be driver. So it's 1 fewer now. So before it was a difficulty 3, but because you're just getting Carl now, it's difficulty 2.
Okay. I got a 1.
Okay.
If I spend a lot,
you spend a lot for reroll.
Yeah.
I don't think you've got anything else here. You could stunt if you don't want to spend a lot.
No, I'll spend a lot. This is the last session, man.
Sure.
Might as well. That 1d6.
Yeah, so we'll say here failure will be like you succeed but die.
I crash into the building.
Woof.
Yeah.
Okay. So you still
you
take...
gotta give me something for succeeding on a deadly roll.
Yeah. Take an ego. Take an ego, man. I think that's cool. Although you do take another point of shock stress.
I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah. 2, 2.
Let's go.
Okay, yeah, so do you want to describe this? Like you're getting shot at this whole time.
As he's getting shot at, I assume G is running like a bitch.
Yeah, G's hopped off. And then you've been like taking cover by the side of the train for a little while, trying to figure out what to do next, and then you just like hop up and brave it. So what do you want to... What does this look like?
I stand up. I down all of my... You know what? I stand up. I stick my hand on my throat and I purge all of my all of my emotional medication. And I'm just blank slate. And I'm just like, all right, let's be efficient. And I'm getting fucking shot at. I take it. I slam the doors of the train shut for some cover against the shots, and I just fucking rear that bitch back and just go flying backwards.
Yeah, cool. And then so Carl, you like pop out, and then you see this train like rattling towards you, getting shot at by rail drones.
Holy God, this is wild.
And then Cassie's like, "Get in," or something.
Oh, we might want to go.
Yeah, I do whatever I need to do to get on this train. So what kind of roll would this be? Because it's still moving, so I'm like jumping on while it's like...
Yeah, sure. Just make a stressful swiftness check.
So that's 3d6.
Yeah, 3d6 rank 5, I think. Yeah. So if you fail this, you'll take pain, like your hand gets
I'll
caught in
try to help.
something.
And then what makes it? You said so. Oh, the stressful is just the.
If you fail, then you'll take stress. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
I got a 5, a 4, and a 2.
so you need 2 successes to regular pass. This is currently a fail with a twist.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
Cassie said you were helping. What were you?
Oh,
I've
you
got to
help,
use one of
Cassie?
my. I got to use one of my specialties to help.
Specialties or stunt?
I think this is a meat train. I'm a step into the fact. I think this is a meat train. I've dealt with meat trains a lot. A lot of times they deliver like food. If you, the back of the car always has a large surplus of like kind of heavy but also kind of soft like perishable goods. And if you fall into them, it will not be like as horrible as like falling into fucking steel because it's
Yeah.
a train. You know.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's like a lard tub in the back because it can't. It's meat, so it's not like this is gonna be feathers. It's
No,
like
yeah, it's like
probably
like
like fat
yeah,
blocks.
it's gross. It's like
extruded
lard.
protein.
Yeah, protein sacks. Okay.
Well, protein stacks
Alright,
makes it sound like
let me
much as
roll my health
sperm
dice
back
then
there, though.
before I do anything else. So I get 1 extra dice for that.
You get a reroll, yeah.
Okay. So I get a reroll for that, and then I use a lot for the other one, I guess,
Sure.
because it is the last session.
Oof.
Oof.
Okay, yeah. So fail with a twist. So you take pain damage as you're like you're hopping up. I think it's not that you get shot. I think it's like your hand or your foot or something gets jammed between 2 of the train carts as you're trying to climb up, and it like crushes your hand a bit and hurts like hell. And then you manage to roll into the protein tank. And then Cassie hits the reverse gear, and you start driving again.
You hear over the intercom, "Where's Ilya?"
At this point, I think like I think at this point I'll say this is when the drone like shuts off from the hacker.
Oh,
So you're able to drive back down the bridge fairly safely. Ilya is like pretty close. We'll say Ilya's managed to meet up with G. And so now it's just Jin and Rochelle, who were going back for Carl.
No, other way round, right? Like,
was it?
I sent them to go onwards, and I was
okay,
like,
yeah, so
I'm gonna
they've-
try and I think probably like I probably like get the message. So I'm probably like heading back towards them, right? Like, so I think we're in 2 groups, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, okay, so we'll say everyone apart from Ilya, because Ilya's not on the train. Ilya's like running between the bridges, so everyone apart from Ilya now is on the city side of the bridge, and Ilya's like halfway across it still.
Yeah.
So Ilya, what's your move?
Because
I don't think you actually made a task roll last turn.
I am gonna try. Because everyone's on the city side of the bridge, right? But they're not off the bridge.
Yeah.
Screw it. Let's just do another blatant lie. I don't know if I don't know if like we've caught them like is a great call. I think actually no, okay. Can I like have picked up the like communicator that AHB guy has?
Sure, yeah.
So I'm gonna like
Yeah, you
I'm
can loot
gonna
him. You can take his gun if you want.
I don't want a gun. Jesus, what am I gonna do with that thing? I think Ilya is up in these like up in these rafters and is like, what the fuck am I gonna do next? And then I think they like post a like they're spending their time trying to break into this like into this communicator and send a message saying, hey, I've arrested them. Like I've got them in X location. I've got like 3 of them in X location. Need like backup, and like more details to follow. Um,
Like, oh, they're up on the second floor south side bridge.
yeah,
Come to my position, kind of thing.
come
Yeah,
to my
okay.
position.
So
Come to my
So
position.
you're trying to get the guards that are near the city side of the bridge to like make it easier for the escape. Is that it?
Yeah. Like you're not looking out for like as many people. Like you're looking out for different like and I think I probably like I'm doing different. Like I think I maybe send a message to them as well, being like updated description, and I give a bunch of descriptions of like hex uniforms, which no one is in as far as I'm aware. Like everyone's wearing other uniforms that aren't hex. So I give a bunch of descriptions like fake hex uniforms.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this via like the communicator, not via psychically this time.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's gonna be 2 objectives, right? Is
Yeah.
like come to this location and also faking what they look like.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to counterfactor for this just being like such a high tension situation at this point.
Yep.
So difficulty 3.
Okay.
And failure here I think is like what do we think failure should be?
If this like if this doesn't work,
Yeah.
Does Ilya have a stress? I mean, we all took a stress. I
think this is definitely stressful, right?
Yeah.
Like
But stress is a stressful roll is in addition to anything else.
In addition to it being anything else, yeah.
I don't know. Getting caught this late would be kind of boring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like, so basically let's restate the action. So
Sure.
simplified. So Ilya is trying to do X. What is X?
Ilya is trying to open the way for you guys to get off the bridge, basically, right, and make that essentially make that a non
yeah,
problem.
basically move the guards away from the entrance to the bridge,
so you can just get into the city.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think if you succeed here, clearly that happens.
Yeah.
Right? If you fail here, maybe it's something like, I'm trying to think, because if it's a capture, it would be like we all get captured, right? Because you're trying to do this as we're coming up.
Maybe maybe Ilya gets caught in the telepathy thing that they did earlier. Like to connect those two, because I think that's like an important character thing for Ilya, right? To not be using their abilities, right? Like hex wise. Or maybe I don't remember properly.
I think
it could be that if you fail,
that
the
might
bomb
seem
goes off.
inappropriate for this.
I don't like sort of disconnected consequences. I feel as though a consequence needs to tie into something. So,
Well, I was gonna say it goes off and then it like fries the train. Like
I mean,
it's
yeah, that's
immediate-
again, it doesn't. Nothing I did link to that action happening.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
what I mean. Yeah, like
You're saying not anyways, the specific from
Maybe
you.
this doesn't need to be a role. Maybe this is just a thing that happens.
Because like, because the position I'm putting myself in is I'm basically like giving up on the whole like escaping myself because I'm way too far behind at this point, right? Like
so maybe you're
like,
just taken into custody. Like you give everyone else an out,
Yeah.
but you're taken into AHB custody.
Yeah. And the thing I'm doing next, right? Like the thing I'm doing next after, like basically the remainder of action from Ilya is try and like do this second bullshit lies through a different channel, get Kaken into custody, and immediately attempt to just wipe their own memory of everything that happened in the last like 3 days, right? Like
Okay.
just completely.
Yeah, that's a different role.
I've been playing that card, but like I think actually like you're right. If we couldn't come up with, I had a 2-step plan, which was always that, right?
Yeah.
But we couldn't come up with any interesting consequences for the first half. So I was like, well, I'll just let you know the whole plan of
Yeah.
action, right? And the whole plan of action is that's the second half.
That's the
right?
more interesting role, I'd say.
But that's again the more interesting role.
Yeah. Okay. So you allow yourself to get caught.
Yeah, but I didn't want to
opportunity.
mention that was like I didn't want to say that was part of the plan because if it's kind of a distraction from like if you thought that the first half is also a thing that could be a role very validly with stakes attached, but I guess we just couldn't think of a way that it like I guess after discussion it wasn't. So
yeah, it's more just a case of like, well, it's so stacked against you at this point that I actually don't see any way you could get out. So yeah,
I can't.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So
I still have the train. Like if you're like.
Oh yeah, no, but like if I'd been in different places and tried to link up with you and got on that train, we could have done it. But I'd prefer to do this, where like what we see is Ilya sees this situation and is intentionally being like, well, I can't. Like probably they could grab the stun gun from a guard, and try and knock out another guard, like link up with you on another platform, but this does just not occur, right? Like there's valid options for trying to link up with you and escape that Ilya is just like, I am not enough of an action hero to do this.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So you allow yourself to get caught, giving everyone else an out.
Yeah.
So I think we can cut to that scene then. So
I like
everyone else is like dispersed into the upper layer of the space elevator, with the intent to like catch a ride back down to the main city as soon as the coast is clear. But yeah, like I think we cut to like you're in an office with an AHB officer.
Can we just bail Ilya out of like what is bail like in this world? You know, like can we just bail them out? Like
I mean, basically, what I expect to happen is no matter what, they're going to be held for like multiple days until this whole situation is sorted out, right? And then it will probably be decided at higher levels than us.
I think it's just like I don't understand what they thought you did because nothing happened, right? We broke and entered. That's
I know I'm a person who has broken entered, right? I'm clearly linked to this in some fashion, right?
Right, sure. Breaking and entering is not something that you'd like keep someone for multiple days.
Yeah, but I think so. I think that's maybe a second thing that we come back to, right? Is that
yeah?
question.
I don't think we're at multiple days have passed yet. I think we're at, or maybe we're not even in the office yet. It's like you're getting escorted.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to establish what the hell the AHB thinks Ilya did.
They don't know
care.
yet. Yeah, they just
like,
know
this
that
kid shouldn't be here. It's a lockdown. We're arresting everyone who shouldn't be here, and then we're gonna ask them what they're doing and find out what's going on.
Yeah, and like probably this creates like, from the AHB's point of view, this creates like a like politically fraught situation where like the Hex people are asking for custody of you, and they're like, well, we caught them. So they're in a legal bind with each other at this point as well, so they can't like do anything with you immediately.
I think we probably see that, right? Like I think they take me to like they've decked out one of their offices. They've put like literally like a bars up just in case, because they dream of this moment where they get to arrest someone. And we just see them having this like the sergeant is like having conversations with someone on the phone, right? And they're like fighting about something, right?
Yeah, or I think I like the idea of like like they're outside the window, so like you can see them having an argument, but you can't hear them.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of standoff between the Hex mages and the AHB guards, and you're just sitting in this office looking through
just like
bars.
start to focus and meditate and just like clear my mind in preparation for some healthy self-induced amnesia. Great.
Wait, you're making yourself forget, or you're making
Yeah,
them
easy.
forget?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay, right.
yeah.
Right.
Like I'm arrested, but like can't tell you shit, man.
Thing is, like, they can't read your mind though. Like, it's not like
No, but like they're gonna get like and like it's the perfect way to like have a like like what are they gonna like the only
Yeah.
stuff they can pin on me is stuff they can find physical evidence for, because I am never going to confess because I have nothing to confess to because I've forgotten it, right? Like,
Yeah. I like that.
just not confess normally instead of erasing your memory, right? Like, I don't.
this is more fun.
This is more.
This is
Also,
a more like
we're on the
Yeah.
like last episode. We still haven't seen psychic magic, so let's see it.
we've seen like one or two psycho magics. Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
this is it, right? But yeah,
That's what you want to do.
I like this. I want to see this happen.
I don't like particularly think that like the consequences of failing whatever role that's going to be are going to be worth just avoiding getting questioned.
no. So
But
the consequences of failure is bigger for the character, right? Because the consequence of failure is obvious. It's Vale like immediately gets called and brought in on this, and we see a scene in the epilogue where the license for psychic abilities is taken away, right?
Yeah,
Because
and
clearly,
Vale
because no matter
already...
what happened, it's clear that like this is a situation where Ilya was abusing their psychic abilities for some reason, and that is a separate thing from anything else that goes on, and Vale can just. So I think that's the thing at stake, right? Is this the thing where it's like really obvious that like and does these dots get connected, and does it get connected in a way where Ilya faces long-term consequences?
Yeah. Yeah,
Look, if
I
you
think that
want to
makes
do
sense. Okay, so I don't have rules for psychic stuff written, so we'll just use generic factors. So your objective is to mind wipe yourself.
Yes.
Have you ever done this before?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
When?
Like, when I left the Hex, like you have to like remove like there's certain things that you just can't keep, right? So
yeah, okay.
I guess that was with assistance at that time, right?
Possibly. Yeah, you've probably never mind wiped yourself though, right?
No, I probably never done it solo, right?
Yeah. That seems difficult. I'm gonna count that as a factor, one way or another. That might be it though. What do we think anything else should count?
I guess I'm not doing it with like I'm in a situation where like I'm basically locked in a room with no one like shouting at me, and like there's not another psychic literally trying to like who's able to tell what I'm trying to do and stop me, right? So I think that would be a factor if I was in a different situation, but I'm not.
Yeah, and you're not already under the influence of some other psychic power, or
No,
I think
not
if
like
you were in Hex custody, it would probably be harder. But because you're under HB, they're idiots, and they're just like
I'm not injured, nothing like that.
Okay, so it's difficulty 2, 3 dice with vigilance rank, open-ended dice or exploding dice. And I'll say this is stressful as well, but it probably won't matter.
Cool. I've got a 6, 3, and a 1. I'll take off
The
amnesia
6
special.
explodes.
6 explodes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's extra 1 dice to start with. Does exclamation work for exploding?
I've no idea. There probably is a way to do it, but yeah.
Okay. So I've got 3 dice to kiss.
Exploded dice can't be kissed, so you've only got 2 dice to kiss.
I've got 2 dice to kiss.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take off amnesia, my specialty. I'm gonna take off psychotherapeutic medicines because So I've got 2 dice more.
And these can explode.
And I can spend fidelity to take my vigilance from a 5 to a 4.
Oh, nice. Well done. Okay. So what does this look like?
I feel like the version where like I fail, Ilya just gets they manage to wipe their own memories so they can't implicate their friends, but they leave nothing in its place. I think this version there's an explanation, right? Like there's a mission, there's a it's sketchy, but it's like it feeds into the what Ilya's been up to in the past week or so, right? Like Ilya was being sent by someone in the rationalists to find someone who is false flagging as a rationalist and trying to do some plot. Like Ilya was being sent up here to find something out and get information, right? But only got onto the bridge, and then all of this stuff started happening, and then essentially got picked up. Like it's a fake story, and it's like it doesn't necessarily implicate them that they faked it, right? Like they're in trouble. They were doing stuff that isn't, but they weren't part of this, whatever this was. And it most importantly for the consequences of the role, the only thing I was going for is it doesn't flag anyone that these are fake memories, right? But the whole story, whatever the whole story is, comes out, I think, and I think in terms of if we were going long with the campaign, I'd want to talk about what that whole story is in more detail.
Yeah,
but I think we just
where
end
my
up
mind
with
is going at the moment is Vale would probably get question 2, and somehow this would lead back to Isthmus, because they were the one that gave you the information in the first place.
Yeah, and then it might lead out to someone else from there. But I think for where we are, I'm happy with leaving it a bit vague.
I think that works, and as well, and it's basically just frustration from the point of view of the HB and the hexes. The hexes especially, because they
they get the permission to read
they
mine.
know, but then they also kind of know what you've done, but they can't prove it.
Yes, exactly.
And they're mad at the AHB for not recognizing that you were obviously a hex mage and could have done this and didn't.
I think they're fighting each other about it. I think some of them are convinced I've wiped my own memory, and then some of them are like, "That's mad. Who would like they had 5 minutes to do this? Like there's."
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a break, and then
Cool.
we'll come back for like epilogue scenes, and then we'll finish the session.
Cool. Really unfortunately, I am gonna have to scoot now. So
Okay.
I'm really glad I've had what I can call an epilogue scene for myself.
Sure.
I've got no stakes on what you guys decide like happens I'll listen back to the end of the episode, but
Sure.
just in general, it has been a blast playing with you. That train thing was mad, very Cassie. The like Carl scenes are all sort of just like MacGyvering the way through like through the world. I've loved how well this system has held up in a setting that just does not immediately seem to like it's a setting that is complex and where we've had a lot of discussion about the meaning of fictional positioning in certain places,
Hmm.
and we've been establishing new things a lot of the way. But it's held up quite well most of the time and done the things we need it to do. And yeah, I've been impressed with that.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for playing.
Thanks a bunch. And yeah, once again, sorry I've got to head off.
No,
But,
it's okay. Enjoy
my
your
plans
meal.
plans got changed for me, so
Yeah.
I have less time than I'd wanted today.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All
thanks
right.
again.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
So yeah,
See ya. Okay.
as far as we understand, we've basically gotten everything we intended to. The only thing we kind of left was my name. That girl knows my name, and then
Yeah.
other than that, we like let the EMP go off, so they're sunk, and we got all our people out. So this should, I mean, my assumption of the epilogue would be like we succeeded. So I think for my epilogue, I want to see Carl like on this alien planet.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say I think we're kind of able to say fairly confidently at least that you lot are you're definitely on the list for the rationalists leading the expedition.
Because this is like the last session. Like we're never gonna see these characters again, probably.
Probably not. Yeah, I think like in terms of
That's kind of my
a celebratory end, I think yeah, you're right. The plan more or less you kind of fixed the plan for the failed other agents, right? So like what would have happened had you not intervened is like the bomb would have been found and it would have implicated the rationalists and like blah blah blah, and so then it wouldn't be so guaranteed that like the rationalists are going to lead the mission. But given that everything else has gone fairly swimmingly, I think we can, if we want to skip that far ahead as the epilogue, then yeah, I think we can say like the ship is like they run their tests and something goes wrong and like you're able to, or like the rationalists use that as an opportunity as intended to like get them disqualified from leading the expedition.
and we can have our epilogues at different times too. I mean, just because I want to do mine, like there. I mean, because if like Cassie wants to do one at any point up until that, or even past it, like that. I mean, it's just like all our own characters. So like,
yeah. No, I'm just trying to work out what the timeline is, roughly.
I think we could use that the AHB took like a rationalist prisoner as kind of like leverage against their legitimacy. They didn't get any information out of that.
Yeah.
Kind of just abusing their power and arresting everybody.
Yeah, I think that from like the people's perspective, from like the larger factional level, it comes down in terms of who's going to lead the expedition. It comes down to the rationalists and the AHB. And I think given the success of everything else that you've done, circumspect or otherwise, like we can say that like the rationalists win the bid and are the ones leading the expedition. That still means though that like what that means is like the rationalists are like heading up the expedition and they're making like the big level decisions for the planet and the direction of stuff. It doesn't mean that the ship is only populated by rationalists.
Yeah. Okay.
So like it's possible if we ever do see these characters again and we continue this on the next planet that like the sergeant or whatever is like still mad about getting getting hoodwinked.
Well, I think that's like just a really cool idea for like an epilogue. I think, I mean, if you're cool for us to jump into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I don't think there's any more roles we want to make this session unless you guys can think of something. So if you just want to describe your characters and like what cool shit you get up to, go for it.
Yeah, I kind of have something in mind. Do you mind if I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Scribe. I just want to check with Scribe too.
Yeah, do your thing, man.
All right, cool. So, I think we see like some like rocky, like mossy place, and I know we'd said that like the planet was mostly like the underwater stuff was like where things were kind of going on for research and stuff. But I think we see like moss, and it's got like the hexagonal like stones that you see on like primordial worlds and stuff.
Oh, like the granite crystals and stuff.
Yeah. And so like those are kind of grown out, and like we see the blonde text person like in like maybe like a scuba suit or something, or like some kind of like water suit. Like it's implying that like they're gonna go underwater, and then we cut to Carl, and he's like working in a lab at like the bottom of the sea, and like looking at specimens and like going, because I think he was like a xenobiologist or something like that.
I think we said he was a planetologist.
Yeah, that's right. It was like nutrient cycles. So he's like looking at this like organism to try and figure out like how it transfers nutrients, blah blah blah. And it's like, and he sees like off in the water, like he just sees like a light or something from her suit, and he realizes like, oh, it's not over, and that's it. So just kind of simple, but I think that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. We probably see Colton as well, who we haven't seen for the whole campaign, but
yeah.
she's probably around.
Yeah, she passes me the handset or whatever, like the iPad basically, that I'm like looking at when I look to the window. Perfect.
Yeah.
Last thing we see is just the mustache.
Like reflected in the window.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Scribe, you got anything?
Yeah. I think
we can cut back in time if you want.
I think we'll do a couple little jumps. So Cassie, I'd say she doesn't take the vacation super well. Like she snuck off and she did work, and now she's like back super into work. And she started doing like some covert work. Like,
hang on, I like the idea of you like doing your report on like how your holiday went to Sybil, and she's just like frowning, looking at a sentence that says like hijacked a train.
Oh yeah, I fully tell Sybil everything, because that's if we remain in the clear is if someone knows what we did, right? So I'm like, yeah, I disobeyed your orders. I stole the train. It was all technically within the parameters of my vacation, so I shouldn't be punished for that.
I got shot at by drones. It was super relaxing.
Yeah, it was it was really pleasant to like just untap from my emotions and just be normal again. Because like this is an unnatural state for star children, like having emotions and stuff. So I think Cassie meant it quite literally, where she was just like, I just want to be on the ship. Right? She doesn't go to the planet. She just like she gets on the ship, like scopes it out, takes like maybe like a day or two on the planet, and like goes back home. And she's probably just like assigning people to like go work on the planet, if they need like personnel, or anything down there. So now it's like you can get assigned on world, or you can get assigned to a faction off world, and that might be better for some people out there. And I still got that favor with Sybil tucked away. I never used it. Just in case, and I think that now, do I be mean or do I be nice? I think with whatever Ilya is doing, I send them like a correspondence of just like it's not what Ilya would have wanted, but it's just like a thumbs up. It's just like, it's not a thank you, it's not a good job, it's not a you did good, it's just a thumbs up. And I think that should get the message across.
Nice.
And I think that's it for Cassie.
Yeah. I'm not sure what. I mean, Ollie said like that the epilogue for him is that final action. It's kind of sad to think about that though if we extrapolate it out, because it's like Cassie or Ilya did something really cool and then doesn't remember any of it.
I guess very Ilya thing to happen. I don't know.
Well, this is why like their characters so like, oh, I can't do anything right. It's because every time they like succeed in a mission, they're just like put in these positions where they're like mind wiping themselves, and so they just don't remember their successes. That'd be really
like,
sad.
I guess there would have been a conversation at some point where you like tell Ilya what they did.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're like super surprised, like, oh wow, how did I do that? How did I do that? You sure that's me? And then when they get like the message that they've been selected to join the colony ship, they're like still super surprised by it.
Yeah, I think the message is probably the thing that like confirms with them that they actually did those things. Like, oh shit, like they weren't just like joking with me or whatever.
There's probably the date that you set up for Ilya probably gets missed though, because Ilya just doesn't remember setting it up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I go instead. It doesn't go well. I did pick someone that was competitive. You know what? I think I still let. I think I still leave it open for Ilya to go on that date themselves if they want, right? Because Cassie doesn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff like at all. Like Cassie doesn't care enough to go on a date, even to like sate someone. So I think it's straight up in Ilya's corner whether they go or not.
Yeah. So I think we can probably leave the campaign there. We can do final Kismet if we want, or we can skip it and just kind of go straight to our collected thoughts on the campaign if you want.
Yeah, I think collected thoughts is probably fine because the final, like, if we ever like go back to these characters, they'll be like,
We'll
just
probably have to
made,
remake these characters from scratch if we ever come back to them. So
yeah, and it would just be like a higher rank or something. So.
Yeah.
A different tier.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it. That's exactly what I was looking for.
So yeah, what did you think of the campaign?
I thought everything was good. You know, I don't I guess the last session felt a little short, but I guess everyone did something cool. I don't know if do you
This
think
session
Carl
or last session?
this session.
Right. Yeah.
You think Carl did something cool this session? Kingfisher.
Carl did a lot of, like Ollie said, like a lot of MacGyver-y stuff.
Yeah, it felt
just,
neat to me.
like, yeah, just making sure, final episode, want everyone to be like satisfied, be like, oh yeah, I got to do something cool.
Yeah, to me it was interesting because like he made sure that we were like the mission succeeded or whatever.
Yeah,
'Cause
Carl made sure
took
the
time
bomb
to,
worked. Like if Carl hadn't done that, then
we might not have
yeah,
gone,
yeah,
or like onto the planet or whatever, or gotten off world.
yeah. So like even though it was not as flashy as like driving a train through gunning drones or wiping your own memory, it was like 3 or 4 back-to-back successes.
Yeah, the thing about Cassie is Cassie with the way I've been rolling needs to do things that are reckless so that they fail and she gets punished for them, but there is still some benefit to it because otherwise nothing will happen, right? Like even like failing forward, I would not get anywhere. So it's like my role behavior is very much influenced by how I'm rolling.
Yeah.
And I was a lot I was a lot less reckless when I was like rolling well. It was just like calm and calculated, and now it's just like, oh, this is frenzy and manic, and like I don't know, you play up different traits of the characters depending on like how you're rolling and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's just like improv. That's not like
that's any game. Yeah, that's not
nothing
just
specifically for this campaign.
Yeah.
But I feel like having those traits to work off of, like generally helped. I think traits are good in any system. Honestly, I think if you've got a system that doesn't have like traits, you're like kind of.
It feels like something's missing.
Yeah.
Or
You're not,
if not, I think it feels like too much of the canvas is left blank.
Yeah, it's not enough refinement, to put off of. You gotta at least have like a nice little starting point. I think if the thing that I did at the end there becomes like a role, maybe there's a possibility that could be abused. But like if you abuse it, you'll die. Like I don't like
Yeah.
I don't particularly see people abusing that.
You get 2 shots on that and then you die. So yeah, it's like I think
that would also be very interesting for King is Dead. I put my life on the line. That specifically would be interesting for that. Also, I don't know if this needs to be on the recording or not, but do you want me to wait until the December build to like try to put something together to like run, or like you want January build? Or
yeah, I think so. I'm really close now to having finally character creation rules.
Okay.
It's been a long time coming because it's it's like you need everything else to be in place before you can make a fully fleshed out character, it feels like. You know, we've managed with these like half characters that we made for Hex Gratia, but like there's definitely, you know, like the whole campaign we didn't fill in background or foreground traits, for example. Practically. And we haven't used any gambits apart from the exclusive features, which it's turned out have been really loose and weird. So I'm behind schedule at this point in terms of getting a build out, but I'm hoping for the end of December. So yeah.
Gambits are your backgrounds, your foregrounds, and your exclusive feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was mainly trying to not abuse those, right? Because they were so different. Mine was literally like a genetic thing, so I didn't want to like
they're
make that like a forefront thing and be
they're
like, oh,
they're quite vague is the thing, and in some ways they're intentionally vague, but I haven't given enough guidance, I think, written guidance, I think, on how to like actually write them for your character. So I need to work on that for sure.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, this is the first time this system's been run for a campaign. I mean, I think you should like give yourself at least a pat on the back that we made it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We finished the campaign.
No, like some playtests don't make it this far, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And not just for like group purposes. Like sometimes it's just like, oh no, this is broken, and it can't be run, you know? Because once you exit that controlled environment, right? Because King is Dead is such a specific scenario. And you wrote it, right? So it's like you know exactly like what you don't know what the players are going to do, but you know like what options are on the table. Like you know the twist, you know where it's going to end up. Generally, right? It changes a little bit because I watched all the sessions. Like it changes a little bit, you know. But like the framing is the same. This did not have a framing at all, other than what you came up with session to session. And the what we role played, you know. So the system survived. Pretty much the hardest thing that you can put a system through in the playtest. Right?
It survived contact with improvisation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I think for me, my takeaways are that I actually so we made a decision right at the start to like invoke the optional rule about NPCs not rolling.
Yes.
And it's taken me pretty much until this week to realize that I miss rolling dice for NPCs. Like I genuinely miss being like I want to roll dice too. Rolling dice is fun.
Yeah, you know, I didn't particularly think it was my place to be like, hey, is this like fun for you to do? Because it's like, I don't know. Part of a playtest is work because you're like taking notes and being like, oh, does this work? Is this broken? You know, so it's like, I don't know. Like, I thought maybe it would have been impolite to be like, hey, is it fun if you're not rolling anything? You know?
Well, it's the first time I've run a game. I think it was useful for me personally, if nothing else, because it's the first time I've run a game where I just haven't rolled dice for the whole campaign, you know? So it was like, it was a different and interesting experience for me. And the origin of this optional rule is like the cipher system where the players always roll.
I don't know cipher, but I do know Morkborg, and I don't think the GM rolls in that either.
Right, yeah. So there's a few systems that have this principle, and I just wanted to try it out and see how it felt. And I think my conclusion is that I miss rolling dice.
I think that's you know.
Yeah.
I think.
So I might still leave it in as an optional rule, but I'm not gonna make it a priority to make sure that the game can be run dicelessly for for the FC.
I mean, it worked for 6 sessions. If it works for 6, it might work for 12. You know.
Yeah, but I think it's it goes against the grain of my like immersive meter, because it, like, for me, the immersiveness of these games is when like it's a believable world and everyone kind of follows the same rules. And like, so if an NPC wants to do something, they should be able to do it in roughly the same way that a PC does it. Maybe with less attention to the specifics, but like there should still be a role somewhere. And yeah, I know that Moody, if he's listening to this now, is probably shaking his head because he wants to not have to worry about NPC stats. But I think I can still write it in a way where NPC stats, like, I don't want you to be like needing to write up a whole character sheet just to run an NPC. I don't think that's important, but yeah. And then the other thing I've noticed or learned this campaign is that, like, in a lot of ways I've been doing too little prep. I really, like, there's been a few times where I really feel like I've been like just hanging on by my bootstrings, like, and low prep is great, and years of playing Burning Wheel has basically taught me how to get prep down to like, oh, you just look at beliefs, instincts, traits right before a session starts, and you spend like 5 minutes thinking about that, and as long as you know the world, then you're good to run the game.
I don't even do that for Burning Wheel. I say, where do we see your character person who's playing a character, and then they invent the scene.
Yeah, and you just go from there, right? And like, it has worked for me. It has worked for this game. It works in Burning Wheel, but I actually miss prep. Like,
that's
now
where you and I
sorry, go ahead.
Like, prep is bar none the most tedious thing about a game, right? So I think being able to run something with little prep is pretty good, and it's low stakes, you know, because if you just need like a side game or some shit, it's just like, hey, we're down a person, do you guys want to try something else that I don't need to do I don't know, 5 hours of prep before we play.
Yeah. No, I like low prep. I don't like no prep. I think that's what I've learned. And like, it's, you know, I used to, when I ran D&D, I would do, in some cases I would do like twice the length of the session I was prepping for worth of prep. So if it was like a 4-hour session, I'd do 8 hours of prep. Woof, don't want to go back to that. Then when I ran like Exalted and World of Darkness and stuff, I would do about as much prep as the session time, so about 4 hours of prep for a 4-hour session. That still feels like too much prep, so I feel like for me, between half an hour to an hour of prep seems like a good amount. But that'll come to personal preference, I think.
I think I do more prep than that, because I prep by listening to the whole previous session and recording your sessions that you don't have to take any notes.
Yeah.
Right. You listen to the session like a day or two, I mean, even like a couple hours before your next session. And then you're just like, oh, this is fresh in my mind. I can do the recaps. I can tell everyone where everyone's at. I know where everyone's beliefs are at. Let's start and then keep moving. Right. Like, I think with this system, I would probably want like a VTT to be up before I would start running it.
Yeah.
Right. Not just for like the playtest, it'll be fine in Discord, but like running, right?
Yeah,
because
running a long-term campaign would get tedious with our current method.
Yeah, I like having, you know, the sheet there.
Yeah.
You know, and like the role cache, to be like, oh, hey, this is, you know, what that role was at X point in time,
Yeah,
without
it's nice to like look back and see that as well.
Yeah.
I think
That's
sorry,
that's
go
not
ahead.
even like a system. That's not like a system criticism or anything.
It's just a tool. Yeah, like having better tools makes stuff work better. Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get there. The one thing I'm not sure about at the moment is Roll20 has some weird rules about like what does or doesn't count as like a valid system that you can make a custom sheet for. I need to look into that, whether I'm allowed to publish an official Agora Roll20 character sheet before the game releases, for example. I don't actually know if I'm allowed to do that.
I think you could publish an unofficial one, but it wouldn't be under the from publisher section, which would be very weird, right?
Yeah.
But I think technically you could publish anything on Roll20 so long as it's compatible with a system.
Yeah.
However, it's like, is the system itself registerable on Roll20? I don't know. Like I don't know.
I don't know either. And it's also weird because like I've looked at some of the other Roll20 sheets. There are some systems that are like completely broken in Roll20. Like there's some systems that just like don't have functional sheets at all, but they still get a listing in Roll20. So I don't know. Yeah.
Most of them, which is
I'm hoping that if I make a sheet that's good enough, that'll speak for itself.
Yeah.
And failing that, at least until the game releases, it'll definitely still be possible to run it as a custom sheet, but then you'll need a pro account.
I feel like if you're running a game on Roll20 without a pro account, like what the fuck are you doing? Like you don't have enough space to put any of your image files on. You don't have enough space to have more than fucking 3 maps, honestly.
Yeah, it's rough.
Unless fucking stuff. You can't have player tokens saved on your server side because you don't have space for it.
I honestly, I really want to switch to Foundry, to be honest.
Yeah, you got the internet that'll let you port forward, sure.
I do. I can set up my router to do that, but just in terms of like the payment structure on Roll20 is really annoying. But
yeah, the thing is, but also with Foundry, I paid $50 for it already. I've never used it a single time.
Right. Yeah, I guess it depends on how much you use it.
It is not worth its money until I use it, and I have not used it yet because Roll20 is more convenient.
Yeah, it's the convenience factor as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like there's like databases and shit on Foundry that like autofill information and stuff, but it's just like something's more convenient about not having to download a pack for my game. I don't know. It's really weird.
I just haven't figured out the multiplayer thing. Like I tried messing with it and like and maybe I'm just an idiot. I mean that's a very real possibility, but I like fucked with it for a while and it was like giving me a bunch of errors.
Yeah, I haven't actually checked it out, so I've only heard stuff about it. So yeah.
I've heard really good things about it. Like my friend Craig, he runs a YouTube channel and does like live plays and stuff. And he loves
why am I being added?
Like constant and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I think it's like probably Foundry seems like most people's second choice. But in terms of like tapping the market for Agora, if there isn't a good Roll20 sheet, then people just aren't going to play it.
Yeah. Apparently the sheets in Foundry are really, really good for a few games too.
Like, I mean, the thing about Foundry is that the sheets don't have to be good because you can just import the PDF sheets from the system itself, right? So the sheets don't have to be good. Like they don't need custom sheets.
There's another VTT I was checking out called Astral Tabletop, But
That looking.
the problem with it is that it's really laggy. So it,
That's not for a tabletop.
yeah, it has a pretty good way of like building custom character sheets where you can just import a PDF and then like put in kind of like drag and drop like dice roll stuff and like fill in text boxes and stuff. Like you can customize the whole character sheet in Astral Tabletop just on a free account, which is great. But then the tabletop itself, and actually even whilst you're trying to build a character sheet, it lags. And it's really annoying.
You guys remember like 2 years ago when Roll20 would be laggy as all shit and it would just like disconnect you from games and shit?
Yeah.
I feel like that's like where a lot of these new places are starting off, and that's a real turn off because I wanted to just not play games during that period of time where that was happening.
Yeah.
And what it was that people were fucking playing. I played a Friday game, and a bunch of fucking nerds were getting on and playing fucking D&D after Critical Role aired the previous fucking day and ruining the servers for Roll20. Roll20 has since upgraded their servers, so that doesn't happen anymore. But like fucking seriously, like.
Anyway, before we move on the conversation too far, Kingfisher, what were your thoughts on the campaign and the system?
Yeah, sorry, I was just getting some water. Yeah, I think overall, I think it was interesting in the fact that like it kept up with the narratives, and we had to kind of figure out how to play the game first, right? And we were still learning it throughout the process. So I think the fact that the system like took that, because that's kind of a difficulty it had to adjust to, and it still like functioned. And I think that that's like a really big victory as a whole, because just like turning a machine on and not having it just explode in the workshop is like, that's really far into iteration. It's a lot further in than people think. So I think that that's like a huge win. And the fact that it carried the like interest of the story it did, like at all the points it felt kind of interesting. Like even when things were like going in directions that wouldn't necessarily be a normal RPG stakes, the game still kind of raised the stakes, which I thought was interesting. And then the actual dice system, I think, was fine. My biggest criticisms were still the experience gain, which tended to kind of, I think that's like mostly resolved with the newer system that you implemented.
Yeah, we didn't actually use it in this last session, but going forwards, the way I'm going to do XP now is you get 1 XP on a failed task and 2 XP. Sorry, 1 XP on a successful task, 2 XP on a failed task.
I like that a lot. I think that's super interesting. And it's just like enough like reward that people can kind of use their abilities to figure out what they want to do, which I think is what the abilities are really there for in narrative games. Like you say, oh, I really like Explorer and I want a big Explorer role. Like, okay, cool. Well, let's figure out what Explore narrative scenes we can do, and then that kind of directs which direction your character can go to.
Yeah, I like both ways actually. Like, there's a mode of thinking or a philosophy of play or whatever that says like you should always state your action first and then work out what the role is. I actually don't mind players being like, I want to roll this thing. How do I do that?
Yep. And I like both directions.
Yeah.
I tend to go back and forth between them. Yeah. So I like that the game could do that. Yeah, I like I said, I had a little bit of criticism in the beginning, but I think that we kind of leveled that out. Mostly my biggest thing at this point is I'd like to see the structure tighten up a little bit more, just so I know what I'm rolling at any specific point, whether it's a job versus a non-job skill. I think that became a little bit of a confusing point at some time.
I think the article about when to roll a check or task is still quite vague, and I need to try and tighten that up.
Yeah,
I think the other thing is, I mean, this will come out when other people run it, but right now, I know what all the jobs are because I wrote
Right,
them.
right, right.
But I think a potentially valid point of criticism that will come up when other people start running it is we don't know what job to use.
Right,
Yeah.
100%. I think that's absolutely a thing that's going to pop up. So, but again, that can be a part of your game itself, right? Like, I mean, every game has an expectation that you read what dungeoneering is, right?
I
So
think I've done the most I can at this point to write the job descriptions to be as intuitive as possible. So I'm aside from just increasing clarity on when you should be using a job versus just a normal ability roll, I'm not sure what else I can do to help people work it out.
I think it's just like once the book is there, or
Yeah.
like whatever, or the full document is there, and
Yeah.
people can just kind of through it and see it. I think that'll be not much of an issue. But overall, I think this was really positive. I think
Yeah, thank you.
I think it'll be interesting to see where it'll be after you take like all of your experience from this, because like writing something and playing it gives you just like you see the thing at such a different angle. So I think that'll be really helpful for you, and I'm looking forward to kind of like readjusting it to kind of like make sure the picture is kind of centered from both angles, and I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. So yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. I think it's been a somewhat frustrating and at times exhausting experience, to be completely honest. But I definitely think the game is headed in a much better direction now than it would have been if we didn't do this. So yeah,
I agree. I definitely agree, and I'm
Well, that's
excited
good.
to see like what that result is.
I'm excited to run it whenever you let me get my hands on it.
yeah. I'll definitely keep you up to date. Do you think you'll want to run it, Kingfisher?
I'm not 100% sure yet. Just because like I just picked up a new job and stuff.
Fair. Yeah.
And that's been eating up a lot of my time. And I know I'm gonna have some amount of like weekend work at some point here. So that might become more of an issue. But if you guys are doing stuff that's like short, like hey, this is a weekend or this is like just a day or like two, something like that, like and we can kind of plan around stuff, then like keep me in the loop. Something more long form like this I think would be pretty tricky because I think like my schedule would probably get in the way of everybody. But for short stuff, or like even if you guys are like, hey, we're trying to do a dungeon or we're trying to do a one shot or a 2 or 3 session thing, I think something like that is like pretty manageable. So keep me in the loop on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Cool.
And if you make some headway on your Kingfisher, obviously,
Yeah. I've felt like kind of just like stalled out on my own project right now, and I think like I just need to like. So what?
I said
me
that's a
too.
shame.
Yeah, I feel like I just need to like play other games and kind of get my fire for RPGs back, because I think I spent so much time like kind of looking at the machine under the box that I forgot
Forget what it looks
I
like outside. Yeah, I know that feeling.
And it's like a really and it makes you feel like so stupid, or at least for me it's made me feel really
Yeah.
because I'm just like, what am I even doing? Like it's almost like you're like moving straws that no one else can see, and everyone around you's just like, what are you doing? You're like, I
Yeah, because
so
it's like every time you see like every time you design some shit and you're like, oh, this doesn't fucking work. And you're just like, it's like, but I'm 95% sure 5 other systems do this. Why does it not work here? And it's just like,
it's so weird, isn't it?
But the positiveness this though is I've been playing a game with friends, and I've been running that as the GM or whatever, and we had a moment for a scene in one of our games that was like crazy metal as fucking super cool, and I like caught some of it, like I felt some of that like excitement again.
Nice.
So I'm like trying to just like focus on catching that again and like probably playing now for a little bit and just kind of figuring out, okay, like, is this something I still want to pursue directly for myself, or am I just like wanting to play games that are like pretty close to what I want and then edit them where I feel is appropriate? So that's kind of where I am. And either way, like as long as I'm having fun with my friends, like that's cool.
Nice.
But originally my project had started because I wanted like a simpler way to play Wheel, and just during all of like the pandemic, there's been like 4 abbreviations of that game that have come, like 3 or 4 abbreviations of that game that have come out now, and like some of those would just fit for like what I kind of wanted to. So it's kind of like the use value and that kind of both kind of got taken out, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna try and focus on like what I enjoyed here and kind of go from there. So, but yeah, that's kind of an unfortunate update, button update. So, but that's where we
No,
are.
that's fair. I mean, I think it can take a surprising amount of time to get the like cogs spinning on some of this stuff sometimes. Like I've said before, how it's although it seems like I've made so much progress in the last 9 months, like this game has just come out of nowhere and it's like fully functional seemingly, apart from a few tweaks. Like that's not a full picture. Like I've been in many ways I've been working on this game for years just without really knowing it.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing that's kind of the feel at the moment. So I'm not super sure, but I will say though that it was really exciting to like have a scene where my whole table was just like, holy shit, what the fuck? And like it was just cool to have that moment again of just like, oh shit, this is why we play. Like this is the reason we're like doing these games.
Nice.
To have these like really cool emergent moments. So yeah.
Cool. There was one last thing I wanted to check, which is to just see if so I'm just looking back at the feedback that we took in session 3 and to see if any of this is still true or whether this has been fixed. So I'll just read it out, I guess. So
okay.
Feedback. So this is from session 3. So Scribe said checks feel harder than tasks. Do we still feel that?
Well, checks are the ones that use your ability score, right?
Yeah, and this was back when checks had a hard failure instead of a failure forward.
Yeah, I mean they don't hurt as much, but they're still harder, like by definition. Like you have less dice, and now that in the last half we've been getting stressed, it's actually been more.
Yeah,
it's actually harder than it was before. I don't think that's a failure of the system though. Like I said before, I don't think that's a failure of the system. It's working as intended. It's just like it's objectively.
Yeah, I think because you can now fail forward on a check, even if you've only got 1 dice, you've still got a chance of succeeding or getting something out of the roll, which previously you didn't have that chance. So
yeah, I guess now you can like basically hurt yourself to kind of get things. Effectively, it's like a way you can get
if that condition thing is like super super good for me as a player because of how poorly I roll sometimes. And I don't think that was a criticism I had. It's just that like it's always in the back of my mind, just like I can get ego if I net this condition. I'm not gonna pass the roll though. So it's like I can't.
Yeah, that is something I might come back to because condition, although it kind of like fictionally it makes sense in terms of like you used your condition and you failed, so you're like, of course I failed because I've got this condition. So you get a lot, and it's like, oh, that's my lot in life. I have this condition. Bah. If you succeed, you're like pleasantly surprised and you're like, yeah, I've succeeded in spite of my condition. You get ego. Like fictionally, that makes sense. But mechanically, it's so rare that it's like.
What if it what if it like does like the astrology thing and it like explodes, but it explodes both directions? Like if you
Maybe.
But that's just because I'm trying to do a lot of stuff like that, where it's just like, oh yeah, you use your trauma die and they explode both directions. And it's just like I don't want to infect your game with my game philosophies, right? Like that's another thing that I have to like try to focus on. Like
Yeah.
from the regime, be like, yeah,
Well,
I want you to make the game you want to make. I don't want you to make the game that I want to make. You know?
yeah. But I will say, I mean, I don't know what the solution is yet, but like I do think conditions aren't quite working as intended. So I'll think about it. Let's see. Kingfisher said, "It feels like the FC is leading the story rather than it being collaborative." Do you still feel that, Kingfisher?
It felt a lot more collaborative in the second half, and that might have just been too. We talked more about like the philosophies of like what a scene looks like in narrative games a lot more over that time. I think that's part of it too. So yeah, I think that was more of a we were needing to sync up in like these style of games and less commentary about the system.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Cool.
I also think we just got like literally closer in that period of time, like more comfortable role playing with
possibly.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
So
I think
that's a factor too.
It's actually, I think pre-session 3, I don't think Carl actually ever spoke in character. But then post-session 3, we've had at least 1 or 2 moments where you've spoken in character.
That's true. That is true too.
Yeah. So
But
maybe that's just coming out your shell.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Even though I know that someone is speaking in thirds, I always talk to them in first person as if I am.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Just they don't respond, and they're just like, "Oh yeah," like. And I'm not doing that to force people to role play. It's just like it throws me off my game if I don't play like that. Right? It's not. It's like the conversational black hole. You're gonna get one or two words in. And sorry if that felt pressuring. I've been told that I pressure people when I'm playing, and I don't even know how that's possible, but I've been told that before. It's just like, oh, well, you're always doing something fucking wild that you're not supposed to be doing, and people be like, oh, well, I gotta top that, and it's just like that's not fair. My brain doesn't work properly, it's not. People shouldn't be expecting the stupid shit I do.
Yeah. Okay, Scribe, you had a comment that you felt specialties were weak or too weak, or you had a suggestion to maybe add to either make specialty stronger or add like a super specialty. Do you still feel that?
I mean, I feel like I might have just picked bad specialties.
Yeah.
Like if I picked better specialties.
You mean I picked bad specialties for you?
I picked some of my specialties. I think I did.
Yeah, I think we talked about it, but it was so vague when we were making the characters. We didn't really know what they were going to get used for. So yeah.
Yeah, because I thought this campaign was going to be like political intrigue, and I was just like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be like stealing trains and shit. Like, I thought.
Yeah, fair.
I thought that was gonna go. I think like second half got real chaotic, and I don't know what changed. Maybe I've just been real tired, so I've been reckless as all hell. But
yeah.
I
I think this one probably is still true based on what you've already said. So Kingfisher, you said it sometimes feels like you're not in control, or that there's a discontinuity between character skill and like what your actions are leading to, and some vague comment about checks and tasks again. So this is probably still needs tightening.
Yeah, so basically I want to say that when I was talking about that, I was mostly just saying that like it didn't always feel like the check I was using was synced up to what I was trying to use it for. But I think we kind of cleaned that up in the second half just because roles started getting more specific. But yeah, I think I would say that like that will probably be cleaned up just in your process overall. I don't think that I don't think there was anything else that like would need to be adjusted outside like your improved like sharpening of the system would I think address that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And well, Ollie's comment to that comment was it might just be experience with the system, which I think is still true as well. And then some stuff about rate of XP, which has now been fixed, and rate of earning lots versus rate of spending is weird. Do we still feel that?
A little bit, yeah.
A little, yeah. But like, still need the lots for XP, so it's like I don't mind having a lot of. You know, a cautious player is going to have lots regardless, right? So you have to factor in that in design, you know.
Yeah, and it's not as punishing or it doesn't feel as like before because the XP system existed as well in the way it did. Like you're getting lots, but you also don't want to spend them. So it just felt like this this shitty loop basically because you didn't have any, but when you did get them, you didn't want to spend them. But now because of the XP system, but now that the XP system's been disjointed from its like the primary source of giving XP being lots, now you can just get them during the rolls. It's more like a bonus, so it doesn't feel like. And I don't like it's crazy that like just the adjustment of that like changes that like psychically, but it just doesn't feel punishing anymore. It's like, oh, if I want to push in this direction, I can make it happen versus I have to push in this direction to make it happen. Now it feels like a choice.
I think it's because now on a successful roll, you get what 3 XP towards that, right?
On a success, you get 1 XP.
You get 1.
On a failure, you get 2.
Okay, so you get 2 still because you spend a lot, right? If you spend a lot, you get 2 XP, right?
No, that's not in it anymore.
That's not.
So now, I mean, I could add that back in if we still feel like that was important, but
it's fine, I guess.
So what it is right now, like exactly as written right now, is you get XP from you get 1 XP from a successful roll, task roll, 2 from a failed one, and then at the end of the session, if you roll over 8 lots, then they convert to XP. But you're saying you liked the fact that spending lots in the middle of the session would also convert to XP, is that right?
I mean, that's the only like XP that we had, so I didn't other than the failure XP, right? So I was like, I don't know, like I suppose it registered in my brain as the reward for succeeding, and that's why I'm writing it, right? So like that's probably why like I'm still focusing on it really.
Yeah, that might still need some tweaking then. I'll keep thinking about that. Cool. And do we feel like there are like characters have too many specialties? Still.
Me? No. I could use like 4 or 5 more.
I think that's I mean, the fact that you only get I think it would be interesting if you had to do something to get your specialty pack. It would make it more of a choice.
Right, instead of it just refreshing at the end of the session.
Yeah, because you see this sometimes in like other games where it's like, oh, to recharge your spells, you have to like go, see the moon pass, or you have to do this or that or whatever. Like you have to go do a ritual or you have to do this thing. And it could even be something that simple, right? Like I have an engineering thing. Okay, well, we have to see Carl like making coffee or a morning ritual, right? And it could be like just small scenes to kind of like pepper in fidelity. I don't know. Those are just kind of ideas, but you can do it however you want. But I think that's not
on the surface, that's not a bad suggestion if I didn't already have something like that for stress.
Okay.
Because that's basically how you heal stress, is you have like a little side scene where you do something relaxing.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. But yeah, that's just me throwing it out there. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
they're because you're getting them so much. I never really used the other three, and I think it would be if I wasn't getting them constantly, I would have had to expand and like stretch to like use those to try and get my rerolls and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you want, right? Like you want to see different results in different narratives.
For sure. I would say like out of all of us, you were probably rolling the highest though, right? So you just objectively had less opportunities to like spend your meta currency.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, I didn't feel like the rolls were any particular way, which means they were probably very advantaged. I didn't feel a way about them. They were probably really good.
I rolled real bad the last 3 sessions, so I've used everything at least once every session except for stunts.
Yeah.
Mainly because I already described what I'm doing, so I find it hard to describe more.
Yeah. I think stunts, I'm going to leave them in as written, but stunts are definitely like a style thing. The useful part though is that like you can totally just remove stunts from the game, and the acronym is still KISS, so it works.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. Is there a mechanic for generating assets in session? Because I thought the fact that we did with the map and stuff was actually very
Yeah, I thought that was cool as well, and I think especially on some of these rolls, it has felt like you do not have enough dice to succeed in some cases, or like it's real skin of your teeth stuff.
Bro, that drive roll was fucking
sometimes the rolls did feel really punishing because you're not even always rolling on like needing a 4, 5, or 6. Sometimes it's like you need just 6s or just 5s or 6s.
Just 5s or 6s.
And it's like you have like 3 dice and
you have 3 dice and it's difficult 3. I mean, the assumption that I have built it that way somewhat intentionally, because the assumption there is you're going to be kissing those rolls because they're really tight, and so you can almost think of it as like actually you're rolling 6 dice against difficulty 3 instead of 3 dice twice. But the difference there is like if it was like like there is probably a way you could hack this game, or you could make a really fundamental change and say you kiss before a roll and kisses count as bonus dice. But I think that would really drastically change the feel of the game. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, I'm not sure. I probably have to experiment with that. The reason why it's currently written the way it is because if it's difficulty 3 and you roll 3 dice and you get 3 successes, then cool, we can just move on, you know. So, and then the other thing is like there's a natural limit if it's rerolls instead of bonus dice. So if it's you rolled 3 dice, none of them are successes, you can kiss up to 3 times to reroll them all. If it was bonus dice, then I'd have to put some arbitrary limit in, like you can only kiss up to 4 times or something on a single roll. So it limits itself if it's re-rolling, which I quite like. But yeah, I think I probably won't change. I won't make that change that I just mentioned about kissing being bonus dice instead. But because that also changes the order of operations for rolling. But I think I probably will start adding more, and this is already happening with how I've written some gambits and how I'm probably going to rewrite assets and gear next week. And then also we've seen it in the combat system. I'm starting to add more sources of bonus dice before the roll because I'm realizing that they're kind of necessary.
Yeah, because it actually the math gets weird because it changes to Like if you have 3 dice and you're able to, and you get like 1 success, then you're re-rolling 2 dice, and you need 2. Like you need successes on both of them, so it's like it actually starts dropping. I'm sure the math is like a lot weirder because dice math is always like really strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, either way though, I think just having like a couple more ways to like get bonus dice before a roll might help. Or it could just be that like people are doing things that are too difficult, and that could just be, solved in a GM side. These are all just things to kind of think about. But we still had a really good story, and I think the failures were interesting. So it's not even like a bad thing, it's just like a thing.
Yeah, I think it's, this is very much a game where I want like every roll to matter. And so I like, even though it is pretty cinch, I do like that feeling of like you've got to pull on like if you just rolled 0 successes on 3 dice and you need 3 successes, it's like you've got to kiss all 3 of those dice again to even have a shot at succeeding this. Like that's I hope at least like that's a tense feeling. Or does that feel just crap because it feels like you haven't got a chance?
No, I mean, I think it just depends on the player. Like some people are going to interpret it one way and some people are going to interpret it another, and like you can't necessarily control that.
No,
it's just more of like you can literally just solve if that's an issue or whatever, you can solve that by just like framing it.
Yeah.
Like with players, just like look, if you're finding that this is like too difficult, give your players other ways to get advantages before rolls. Done. Right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
because in like I know Wheels another game that has like stuff where there's a lot of like rolls that are really, really, really hard. In that position, I usually would have 3, 4, or 5 scenes before my main roll, all setting up fictional positions to give myself a bonus dice. So like when I was doing like
that's something that's missing. There's a few times I've thought about doing that and then kind of either forgotten about it or it's like not come up, or like I think I even did it this session where I said Cassie's gonna, or Ilya got the hacker to like help with the drones and stuff, and that should give you a bonus dice, and then I forgot to give you that bonus dice for the roll. To give it to Cassie when she drove back. So like
and things like that are doable. You could also like people pretty ubiquitously use flashback scenes now too, where it's like, oh, you know what, like actually I'd set up something in here earlier, and then you do a quick roll, see if you get the bonus, and then go
so that's an interesting one actually. So because I had this idea, or I say idea, like I was rereading the rules on flashbacks in Blades in the Dark, and in that game you have to take stress to do a flashback. That's I don't know how stress works in Blades of the Dark, but in my system, if you had to take stress to do that, then nobody would ever do it because stress is horrible. But so I changed it to be like, you either have to have an appropriate habit that kind of justifies the flashback, or you spend a lot. If you're then using the flashback to do something that gives you a bonus dice, then kind of by proxy, you're gaining the ability to spend a lot to gain a bonus dice. That might end up working. That might be that. We'll have to try that, obviously, but like, and that's just only one lot because it would be a single flashback for probably only a single bonus dice. But yeah, that could end up working. Ollie's not gonna like Moody's not gonna like it because he's gonna be thinking, you can't like differentiate between the power of a bonus dice versus the power of a reroll. But actually, I would say they're pretty. The difference between a single bonus dice and a reroll is pretty similar. So, and the narrative power of that is cool. So I think it'll work.
This is objectively better because you can only re-roll the dice you have, so it's still a fixed. So if you have 3 dice and you're re-rolling, you still have a fixed amount because you could have 1 success, so you're down to 2 dice. Whereas rolling a fresh dice is always a benefit, and it's always
that's true. But if it's costing you a lot, or if it's a once per session use of a habit, then that's still a cost. And it's a... Yeah, okay, so technically it's like you should always be doing that if you want the best benefits, but yeah, I'll think about it.
Yeah, just again, just throwing stuff out. It's up to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Cool, okay, so let's leave the session there. I think that was a good way to end the game. Good little wrap-up discussion. So thank you, both of you, for playing. And thank you, Moody, if you're listening. Thanks for playing. And anyone else that's listening, thanks for tuning in to the first ever campaign of Agora. Yeah, ciao.